And this time, it's a night race. 7 p.m. on Easter Sunday, April 17th. Save big by grabbing a weekend package today at BristolMotorspeedway.com.
It's Bristol, baby!
From the Ingles Studios, this is ESPN Asheville, WPEK, W225CJ Fairview, WMXF Waynesville, and iHeart radio station.
I'm Christine Lisi, breaking NFL news. All-Pro pass rusher Chandler Jones has agreed to a contract with the Raiders. Should be some interesting conversations between Browns brass and quarterback Baker Mayfield. This after the team met with Texans QB Deshaun Watson, and Mayfield posted what appeared to be a goodbye to the city of Cleveland on social media. The Browns, Panthers, Falcons, Saints all trying to trade for Watson. If the Browns don't land him, they still need to move on from Mayfield, advises ESPN's Mike Tannenbaum.
Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski are smart, thoughtful guys. When they went down the road of saying, hey, we want to talk to Deshaun Watson, they were fully aware of what was going to happen. So to me, it's over in Cleveland with Baker Mayfield. It's not a matter of if, it's really a function of when.
Mike Tannenbaum on Greene. Watson is facing 22 civil lawsuits alleging sexual assault and inappropriate conduct. Louisville will hire Knicks assistant Kenny Payne as its new men's basketball coach. Red Sox ace Chris Sale will miss the start of the regular season with a stress fracture in his rib cage. The team says it will be weeks, not days, before he can resume throwing.
Brought to you by Capital One Shopping. Capital One Shopping instantly searches for available coupon codes and automatically applies them at checkout. Capital One Shopping. What's in your wallet? Savings and available coupons vary.
In the heart of Beer City, USA, two men, one journey to create a sports show unlike any other. Unfiltered, raw, and honest. One of them played a soccer goalie opposite Ben Stiller. The other once scored 6 points on Steph Curry. These guys know their shit.
Let's go!
Tank Spencer, Jeremy Greene, the Sportsocracy. Presented by Ingles Supermarkets. Low prices, love the savings.
And welcome into the Sportsocracy here on ESPN Asheville 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. The Sportsocracy heard everywhere on the iHeart Radio app. And, of course, we are seen everywhere on YouTube. Go to thesportsocracy.com, click on that live video link. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you can get into the chat where we will have our poll, our second poll, in as many days.
Well, I mean, you can't get it as wrong as you got yesterday, so...
Well, I mean, some will say that the Sportsocracy community got it wrong in the most overrated bands bracket, the first matchup of the Sweet 16, as Creed takes down Bon Jovi and advances to the Elite Eight.
Yep, and I listen to Creed all day, out of spite.
And today's matchup, Tool against KORN.
The battle of two four-letter words.
We will have the poll up running all show long in the chat box, so log on to thesportsocracy.com. Again, click on that live video link, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Today is a huge day. No, not because of the movement that is going on around the NFL. Not because it's the day before the greatest day in all of sports
St. Patrick's
all year
Day.
long. No. The opening of the NCAA tournament. We'll talk some March Madness coming up in the 4 o'clock hour. We will have a live report from Fort Worth, Texas, as Jones Angell, the voice of the North Carolina Tar Heels, will get us all set for tomorrow's game, North Carolina against Marquette. And of course, we will talk about the Tar Heels and hopefully their journey to at least the Elite Eight. I mean, Joe Lunardi says it, so it's got to be true, right? We'll give you the best bets for March Madness coming up tomorrow, because we will not have a show tomorrow because of the Tar Heel game that will be on during our regular airtime. So we're doing Jones Angell a day early this week. We've shifted some things around in the schedule as well. We'll have a chew on that with Caleb Peak coming up in this hour rather than the 4 o'clock hour as we usually do. It's not a big day because of all of that. It's a big day because it's Jeremy's birthday. And this is the one thing that he wanted for his birthday was Beatles music.
It is my birthday.
Yeah, it is. He doesn't like to make a big deal about his birthday, but
It's
those of us,
the one day of the year that I don't want to be the center of attention.
right? But those of us who love him dearly, we try to make it a special day for Jeremy. So happy birthday to the big Ginger, and of course, we welcome you into the program. Your chance to win tickets coming up twice today. We will do one in each hour. We will have pairs of tickets going out for the Carl Customs Bristol Dirt Nationals coming up at Bristol Motor Speedway next weekend. We've got all weekend passes. So you get the passes for the 25th and the 26th for these super late model shows that are going on. Both of those days should be a whole lot of fun. Look, I've never been a part of these Dirt Nationals, but I've watched some videos on it since we got these tickets because I wanted to be able to tell you what you're going to be able to see, and it's a lot of fun. It's a whole lot of fun, and it's like demolition derby for those guys. So we'll have your chance to win tickets to the Carl Customs Bristol Dirt Nationals the first weekend, next weekend, coming up in both of the hours here. But, of course, everything revolving around free agency and the NFL. We've had a major deal that has just gone down. The details are still filtering in about it, but it looks like a 3-year deal, $51 million for Chandler Jones to join Jeremy's Las Vegas Raiders.
I think it's a good deal.
I think it's a great deal.
I am still dumbfounded at Indianapolis. Do you not know you have money? Do we need to talk about this?
Well, they don't have to because they're getting the scraps from the Las Vegas Raiders because attached to the Chandler Jones deal, you would think, well, what are they going to do? They have Yannick Ngakoue and Max Crosby that just signed the big $100 million extension. What are they going to do with those guys? Well, Yannick Ngakoue is going to the Indianapolis Colts for Rock Ya-Sin. Details on that still to come. I would have to imagine that the Colts had to give up more than just Rock Ya-Sin to get Yannick Ngakoue. But you think so? Okay.
Yeah, it was probably a straight up deal.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, we'll give you the details on it as they get finalized coming up here, but that's the big news of free agency today. Chandler Jones, some say the top pass rusher in this free agency class, off the board to the Las Vegas Raiders.
We have our first one of these of the day.
I'm your huckleberry.
M. Bradley, welcome to the House of Reprehensibles. We have cake. There will be cake. Or at least that's what I've been told. Not for my birthday. I am not a cake person.
So there is cake somewhere?
Somewhere. It's just not here.
Oh, I got you. Somebody.
I'm more of a pie guy.
Pie guy.
I'm just not big into cake.
Okay. What's your favorite pie?
Oh, it's apple. A good apple pie, unbeatable.
Do you put anything on it?
No.
Do you take it a la mode? You don't like ice cream?
I don't like ice cream, no. Why would I mess up a good piece of pie?
Some people put cheese on their apple pie.
Those people are lunatics, and those people should be on NSA watch
I agree.
lists.
As a young child, that was the first clue that I had that went, my grandfather's crazy because he loves a slice of cheddar cheese on top of his apple pie, and I went, you're just, you're ruining good apple pie that way. But
speaking of things being ruined, there's been a player in the NFL that's been ruining his team for quite some time. And he seems to completely believe that he's done.
Well, I mean, look. I guess you could be nice and say that Baker Mayfield is a head case.
If you didn't read that the goodbye to Cleveland with Enya music playing in the background, I guess it started playing in my own head. Or Sarah McLachlan or something like that.
I have no clue what happens next.
I can tell you one thing that happens next. Nobody. I've heard a couple teams that, I have it on good authority they would give up a first-round pick for Baker Mayfield. Would you like to know what the response to that was when I asked around? Laughter. Uproarious laughter. And I'm going to say the same thing about Baker Mayfield that I've said about Cam Newton for about as long as I can remember. If he was bad last year because he was hurt, then he got hurt 4 years ago. This has been the longest shoulder injury in the history of creation.
He's had good spurts. The end of his rookie year was good. It gave you hope going into the next year. I think he played 3 good games that season. And, he was hurt this past year. It's always an excuse with Baker Mayfield.
And he really preys on bad teams. Tremendous. You're a quarterback that can beat bad teams. Well, good for you.
Yep.
And this is directly tied to the Deshaun Watson. Where will he go?
Right.
The reports come out from Diana Rossini that to get a meeting with Deshaun Watson, they had to agree to trade compensation beforehand.
Right. You had to have a deal, present it to the Houston Texans. The Texans would review your deal, and then they would approve you for a meeting or not. So they went in with deal in hand, and now it becomes completely up to Deshaun Watson what situation he wants to choose. And I think that's a brilliant way to do business, especially for Deshaun Watson.
Well, this was you can get what you want, but we still keep some leverage.
Mm-hmm.
Because Deshaun Watson basically could have come out and said, "Oh, I'm only going here." So Houston, they had to do something to keep a little bit of hand. So they've done that. They have a deal orchestrated with Atlanta, Carolina, New Orleans. I'm forgetting one. Cleveland,
yeah.
Now, the deal with Cleveland does not involve Baker Mayfield.
As you said, it would not. But it will be on Cleveland to shop him around. And look, even if Deshaun Watson doesn't end up going to Cleveland, what do you think this is going to do to weak little Baker Mayfield's mind? He's already torn apart.
Well, the question is, do you think he was a moron? Because the only way he did not know he was a lame duck quarterback is if he has an IQ of about salad dressing. Because at some point you have to have some self-awareness and look around and go, man, this is all good. And then there's me. I mean, you have to be somewhat self-aware. If you work at a job and you are the worst employee in the building, there are very few of those that don't know that. I've employed a good number of people in my life.
Right.
I don't think I've ever fired somebody where they went, I cannot believe that you are letting me go.
They went, oh, man.
They went,
really?
Unemployment. That's fun. Let me go talk to the government for a minute.
We had this discussion yesterday a little bit about Baker Mayfield, whether or not he was a starting quarterback in this league. And I still feel like the answer is yes. He is a starting quarterback in this league. Where? I have no idea. Like the Indianapolis Colts.
The Saskatchewan Roughriders.
No, this league, the NFL.
He's not a starter in this league.
He is.
He's not.
He is. He might be the worst starter in this league, but he's
in a league
still
that includes Davis Mills and whatever Seattle is going to do.
Mm-hmm.
That's
one of the teams that apparently are in the hunt. If Baker Mayfield, if Deshaun Watson comes to Cleveland, the Seattle Seahawks and the Indianapolis Colts are the two teams that have surfaced as contenders for Baker Mayfield. And I don't think, and to answer a question that you asked me yesterday, no, there's not a team doing backflips right now going, ooh, we could get Baker Mayfield.
Seattle would rather play Drew Lock than Baker Mayfield.
Oh, you think so?
I don't think so. That's what I was told. They're good with Drew Lock as opposed to a year of what are we going to do with Baker Mayfield. That's the thing that nobody ever entertains.
Is the money.
Am I sitting here telling you that he's not one of the 32 best quarterbacks in the NFL? No, I think he's close to that.
Okay.
He's somewhere in that 28 to 34 range.
And I would agree with that.
There's a problem with him, and it's the same problem that we've had with a slew of other quarterbacks. Namely, let me go off the top of my head. Cam Newton, Colin Kaepernick, Tim Tebow. All three of them, was there ever anybody that said they weren't 38, 40 best quarterbacks in the league? No. Unfortunately, you bring this 10% of delusion with them and the money. When you add those two things, it's much easier to look at it and go, you know what? I think I'm good with Drew Lock.
Right.
I think I'll just hang out with Geno Smith.
Right.
Because nobody's a lunatic about them. There are 10% of fans that are lunatics about all four of the guys I just said.
Mm-hmm.
And they're out of their mind. I got into a Twitter beef with one of them on Baker Mayfield last night. Took about 6 responses for me to go, oh, you're not very smart. I understand now. Well, you would argue with a potted plant.
I think it's because they're polarizing figures. And, there are people who really love them. There are people who really dig that whole Baker Mayfield, brash arrogance. I'm not one of them.
I
haven't liked him since he was in college.
The funny thing now is that the Baker arrogance has gone away. He's been beaten down to such a point by the league that it's not even the arrogance that bothers me now. It's the people around him. The people that watch these stupid progressive commercials and go, oh, he could be a Pro Bowler. No. I mean, he could be a Pro Bowler, yes. I don't know how good his hook is and how well he can spin 7-10 split. He might be great at that. He's never going to be a Pro Bowler.
Right. I was going to say, you know several, I don't know how many, but you know several Cleveland Browns fans. And I'm sure at least half of them are completely on the Baker Mayfield bandwagon of he's the guy that took us to the playoffs. He's the guy that got us a win in the playoffs.
I love that argument.
Yeah.
I really do. I love that argument. By the way, do you know he's the only Cleveland Browns quarterback to ever beat a team in that division in the playoffs?
That's cool. Congratulations.
Yay. You know what that and $1 will get you? A Coke.
I heard somebody last night making the case for Baker Mayfield and mentioned the fact that they won 11 games that year and they won a playoff game without their head coach. Yeah, they also won that game without Ben Roethlisberger. I mean, and Pittsburgh was so bad in that game.
Well, I mean, and by that time Ben was a corpse that moved.
Exactly.
Here's there's a bigger narrative to this, and I've started hearing people say this today, and I firmly agree with it. If I'm Cleveland, I don't care if I get Deshaun Watson or not. There's no way he's my starting quarterback week 1. And it has nothing to do with the frivolity of his ego or how fragile he is or anything like that.
Okay.
I know what you are. I can do this with Case Keenum or you. And I've said for 2 years, I do not see a lick of difference between the two.
No,
Best game I saw Cleveland play all year, Case Keenum was playing quarterback.
Yeah. And no, I actually think Kevin Stefanski is all about – he would be all about playing Case Keenum and not having Baker Mayfield to deal with.
And I'll level with you. I look at Kenny Pickett, Sam Howell, Baker Mayfield, Case Keenum. You're all the same guy. You just have a different name and you wear a different number. Mm-hmm. That's it.
Really?
And two of you are much cheaper.
You don't think Sam Howell's going to be are you saying his career trajectory is going to be similar to Baker Mayfield? I know those comparisons have been made. But do you think
he has a bigger arm than Baker, and he's more athletic? Mm-hmm. To me, I'll be honest with you. When I started doing comps, which will start coming out next week, and I absolutely hate doing these, so I'm doing them through gritted teeth, but they're happening. My comparison to Sam Howell was he is who you were sold Baker Mayfield was. Because there was this narrative that, Baker's so athletic. Literally in the 40, he and I would be neck and neck with each other. He ran like a 4.58 or something like that as just a little feller. There's nothing special about him. And I fully believe that he knows something that the rest of us don't know. Because I'm less convinced that Deshaun Watson ends up in Cleveland today than I was yesterday. Mm-hmm. That was always the team that I said will be the player on Deshaun Watson. Now I'm at a point of, I feel like Houston is desperately trying to keep him out of the AFC. There are rumors out of Carolina right now that they feel like he's going to go to New Orleans. Mm-hmm. And I don't think you can undersell Atlanta. That Atlanta thing is hanging around to a point that I don't think you can undersell it. And I can't see it now, but somebody in the YouTube comments asked what would happen with Matt Ryan. I have this on good authority. The Indianapolis Colts would make a play on Matt Ryan. Apparently, that part of it's already done. Mm-hmm. They restructured the deal, made it more palatable to move. I did not know that when I said, no, you can't move him. Well, you can. It's going to hurt because the dead money is going to be a little bit more aggressive, but it's more palatable for a team on the other side. I didn't know that.
Right.
And Chris Mortensen just put out a report that before they agreed to that, they told Matt Ryan that they were going to be in on Deshaun Watson. So this has apparently been brewing for a few days, and it makes a lot of things make sense that I've been told over the last week. I don't think you can undersell Atlanta.
All right, you're in the Sportsocracy here on ESPN Asheville. Yes, we got the overrated bands bracket. You can vote right now in the chat on YouTube, youtube.com/thesportsocracy. Let's go ahead and do it. Let's go ahead and give away a pair of these tickets. Give us a call right now in the Ingles Studio, 225-4988. If you want a pair of weekend passes for next weekend in Bristol, the Carl Customs Bristol Dirt Nationals. Late model dirt track racing at its finest at the world's fastest half mile. 225-4988 if you want to go next weekend to Bristol Motor Speedway.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Mostly cloudy skies tonight with scattered showers, tapering off a little later tonight, mid-40s. Patchy morning fog and clouds for Thursday. Sunshine mixing in as we head into and through the afternoon. Milder upper 60s. Afternoon showers Friday, low 60s. Our weekend forecast, dry weather, mix of clouds and sun. Middle to upper 60s for us on Saturday, cooling back into the 50s for Sunday with middle to upper 50s for afternoon highs. I'm meteorologist Ken Boone at the Weather Channel.
This report is sponsored by WhatsApp. No one should read your personal messages. That's why WhatsApp uses end-to-end encryption. It protects whatever you send before, during, and after you send it. So no one, not even WhatsApp, can read your messages. Always message privately. WhatsApp.
Spring break is here, and summer will be here before you know it, so now's the time to start planning your next great adventure. But before you do, check out podguides.com from iHeartRadio. Podguides.com is your chance to explore the world through audio with an interactive map that's pinned with podcast episodes that serve as your local guide. Podcasts to help with what to see, what to eat, what to avoid, and more. Start your next journey at podguides.com, only from iHeartRadio. Discover music, radio, and podcasts you'll love.
There's a lot of talk about the COVID-19 vaccines, and everyone has an opinion. So I went to somebody I already trusted, my doctor. Talk to your doctor or healthcare provider and make the decision that's right for you. Go to getvaccineanswers.org for the latest information. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
The underdog. The long shot. The nobody from nowhere, never gonna happen, 100 to 1 shot. We know something about that. We're with you every step of the way.
This week at Ingles, select 10 to 14 ounce Post cereal. Buy one, get one free. Select 51 ounce Downy liquid fabric conditioner, $4.98 each. And select varieties 12 ounce Charleston Coffee Roasters coffee, $7.98 each. Ingles, low prices, love the savings.
Join us for an Easter celebration at Bristol Motor Speedway you will not forget. Featuring Grammy and Dove Award winner Chris Tomlin.
You're a good father.
Along with speaker and author Max Lucado and special guest, former Rascal Flatts lead singer Gary LaVox. Easter Sunday, April 17th at 4 p.m. The event is free to all. Located on Bristol property between the Speedway and Dragway. Fun, faith, worship, and racing for the whole family. To learn more and be a part of the Easter celebration at Bristol, visit bristolmotorspeedway.com.
This is Ice-T,
Stone Cold Steve Austin, and
Matty Ice.
This is a cold call.
I convinced NFL teams to turn to cold water washing with Tide.
The NFL, your uniforms get dirty.
Tide can handle it, even in cold. Plus, if fans join in, they can save up to $150 on their energy bill.
Looks like you just made the team, rookie.
Turn to cold with Tide.
And that's the bottom line.
It's got to be Tide. Energy savings based on average when switching from hot to cold and non-HE machines.
Rogue Combat Club, Asheville's home for comprehensive martial arts training, has a goal for our community, one that's stronger, more fit, and unwavers in its support of one another. Rogue Combat Club's instructors have competed at the highest levels and offer classes for everyone from young children to adults in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Muay Thai, and wrestling. Rogue Combat Club classes can help you boost your self-confidence and self-defense skills while weeding out the egos and intimidation found at other gyms. Join today at roguecombatclub.com.
Hey guys, I'm Ziggy, your local Philly girl, owner of Ziggy's Bakery and Deli. I've created a traditional northern deli with only the most authentic cheesesteaks outside of Philadelphia, served with provolone, white American, or Cheese Whiz. Our other classic deli sandwiches are made with the best quality meats and cheeses, available sliced by the pound. Join us for breakfast for house-made bagels with our custom cream cheeses. Or for something heartier, try a pork roll, egg, and cheese or house-cured lox. Ziggy's Bakery and Deli, in the corner of Asheville Commons, 1550 Hendersonville Road, open 8 to 3, Tuesday through Saturday.
The Sportsocracy.
You were just dumber than a bag of hammers.
And the most overrated bands bracket. The second of the Sweet 16 matchups is up on the YouTube stream, thesportsocracy.com. Click the live video link and hit the subscribe button, and you can vote too. Today's matchup, Tool versus KORN. Who's going to take on Creed in the Elite Eight?
2 4-letter word bands. Tool and KORN.
Right now, it is Tool up 65% to 35% for KORN, and I could not agree with that more.
That is not the way I voted, even though I do like to make jokes about Tool. They are the Wire of bands.
Oh, they're the best thing you've ever seen for some people.
For like just this tiny little percentage of people, it's the greatest thing I've ever seen. And if you're not consuming it, you're out of your mind. But I still can't stand KORN.
Why? Is it Jonathan Davis? Is it the lead singer? Is it his dreadlocks?
There's something about his face. I need him to do something with his face, and that was the deciding factor for me.
Right.
I don't know what it is, but there's just something that irks me about your face.
Yeah.
There's also something that is irking Atlanta Braves fans right now. Freddie Freeman has bid you adieu.
He has posting on Instagram his farewell to Braves country. There's so many that were holding on to the hope of, well, we have the DH now, so maybe we bring Matt Olson in.
You were never paying that much to a DH. Nelson Cruz got, what, $10 million, something like that?
Mm-hmm.
He's about as good of a DH as you could possibly ask for.
I mean, you could pay that much for a DH. The Red Sox have done it several times and worked out pretty swimmingly every time they've done it. J.D. Martinez, Big Papi. You could spend big money on a DH and still have success. I mean, it was a pipe dream to begin with. But, it's not going to happen, Braves fans. He is saying goodbye, and it appears, according to all of the rumors and news right now around Major League Baseball, as if Freddie Freeman, he could be a Yankee, he could be a Red Sox, he could be a Dodger. Which, who didn't see that coming? All the big money teams are going to be in on Freddie Freeman.
Oh, we have a... this does not necessarily rise to the bit of breaking news, but it is my birthday and I'm in a giving mood, so I'll let you hit your stupid button.
Yeah.
Who's gonna break the news? Who's gonna break the news? Who's gonna break the news? Who's gonna break the news?
Apparently, Diana Rossini and I talked to some of the same people. Adam Schefter tweeted out, as Mort reported, the Falcons have informed Matt Ryan last weekend, blah, 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 which I said in the last segment.
Mm-hmm.
Diana Rossini has gone one step further and said, this did not happen in Cleveland, and no matter what happens with Deshaun Watson, Baker Mayfield is looking at his other options with the bunny ears.
Which should happen.
Because here are his other options. He could go sell Progressive Insurance. I hear he knows them quite well.
Uh-huh.
Could be the first person ever to go from being endorsed by them to being employed by them.
Mm-hmm.
I believe the Ontario Rough Riders, or whatever that is in the CFL, they probably need a quarterback. And then you have 8 teams in the USFL where he would be the best quarterback. Other than that, I think you're going to find a rather lukewarm market there, Baker.
Cleveland's got to find a way to move on. I mean, I've said that for 2 years now. And I feel like I feel the same way about Daniel Jones in New York. New York's got to find a way to move on.
And just so you know, there is a growing sense that this Deshaun Watson thing is going to be resolved before this day is over.
I mean, I hope so. And I think...
Well, I do feel like this has been the ugliest breakup ever. We've all had the breakup that went on longer than it should have.
Mm-hmm.
Because everybody wants to talk. Okay, why do we need to talk? There's really nothing that we need to elaborate upon that.
I mean, there were some extenuating circumstances.
Well, I mean, in my situation, could you please stop putting cigarettes out on my couch? That would be tremendous. Those were my extenuating circumstances.
There was also a report that came out from the from NFL.com where Janine Garofalo put out there that he was trying to find other suitors. Like, apparently Deshaun Watson's people were reaching out to the San Francisco 49ers. And the Niners were like, we have Trey Lance. We just gave up a whole bunch of draft capital for that, so I think we're going to stick with that.
Yeah, Baker Mayfield talking to every team in the league.
I'm your boy.
Every team in the NFL responding to him.
Put the bunny back in the box.
That could have gone one of two ways. I was expecting the no on that one. No, we ain't gonna take Baker Mayfield. We don't need that.
That's going to be the most uncomfortable part of this, is that you have 4 teams in the NFL that basically have glorified USFL quarterbacks starting for them, and there's still going to be nobody interested. Not saying he ends up unemployed, just saying it's more of a you're battling with a rookie or a Drew Lock or something like that than it is, hey, you're our starter.
Hey, the Washington football team, they're clearing cap space. Maybe they bring him in to compete with Carson Wentz, and then that will be just the most awful situation you can find yourself in.
I will then only recognize 31 NFL teams.
It'll be much like that battle that we had for a little while, sans Justin Fields in Chicago, where it was, will it be Andy Dalton or will it be Nick Foles? How about neither? Whatever rookie we can bring in. And I feel like Washington should be in the same place.
Washington has not shut the door on bringing in a rookie, just so you know.
That's what I'm saying. They have that, 11th pick?
Yes.
In the first round? I feel like that's a great place for Sam Howell.
That's not the one I would go with.
It's not the one you would go with? You would go with
Sam Howell's
Willis.
who I draft if I need you to play right now. Malik Willis is who I draft if I've got a year or two before I need you to play.
So Sam Howell to Seattle?
I can't get away from it. I feel like Seattle's going to be sitting around with we had Russell, and now we have nothing.
Drew Lock.
And now we have the 9th pick of the draft. Come on down, Sam Howell.
Boy, you must be outside your mind.
The Sportsocracy.
Just a bit outside. He tried the corner and missed.
Oh, in the world of edibles, in the cannabis world, there are a lot of businesses that are pumping this stuff out now. With it legal in many states and booming online business. Mike Tyson has a cannabis brand, and they have launched the greatest.
It's not the most non-shocking thing you've ever heard in your life.
It is the greatest idea for an edible candy ever. They're coming out with Mike's Bites. And these are ear-shaped edibles, ear-shaped gummies that have the little chunk ripped out of the top of it, with the cartilage gone, of course, from the big fight with Evander Holyfield way back in the day. Here's the funnier part of it. We don't know if Evander Holyfield is going to get a cut of this business.
I'm going to go with no.
I mean, he might, because it was, this 2019 when this idea first came up. On the podcast Hot Boxing with Mike Tyson, Evander Holyfield was on the show with him, and that's where this idea was first presented to him and to the public. He said, we might be doing this business where we're going to put out, edibles, and I think I want them to be in the shape of ears. And he said, you know what? We might be down with that. I might be down with that idea. And Evander Holyfield said, or they joked about whether or not Evander would sit down to have his ear molded so they could put him in, life size. And he was like, yeah, I'll do that. Still unclear whether or not he's going to get a bite of the profits, but
I'm going to say no, because they say his name absolutely nowhere.
I feel like there could be a court case in there somewhere.
Your story is about a marketing ploy for a former athlete.
Yep.
Well, so is mine.
Okay.
During his wrestling heyday, Stone Cold Steve Austin was known for downing a few cold beers in the ring after battering his opponents. Well, I'm telling this story because it's March 16th. Also known as 316 Day. Mm-hmm. Every year on my birthday, I get at least 10 Stone Cold Steve Austin memes from his iconic shtick in WWE. Well, apparently, El Segundo Brewing Company in California, they saw the opportunity as well. Because today, they're releasing the Broken Skull American Lager. It has Stone Cold Steve Austin on it. And they thought, what better day to release it than 316 Day?
Exactly. I
want one of these so bad I can't stand it. I do, and not because I have any belief that it's going to be good.
Well, you don't have faith that they could make a good product and put Stone Cold's name on it?
I'm sure. I mean, look, I believe that Stone Cold Steve Austin and I probably have very similar beer tastes.
Sure.
In that our favorite one is the next one. So I'm going to say that this is not overly hoppy. It's not real heavy. Probably going to be a glorified Bud Light.
Yeah, it's a great American lager. Something about high-gravity IPAs that just doesn't say Stone Cold Steve Austin to me.
It is 4.8% alcohol by volume.
Okay.
And it is brewed with 100% Contessa hops. I would tell you what those were, but I don't know.
Nope. No clue.
See,
but
to me,
but there's no
maybe
fruit.
This makes me, maybe this makes me an outsider in Asheville because we are Beer City, USA.
Mm-hmm.
The way beer is made is kind of like the way hot dogs are made. I don't need you to tell me all of the processes. I need you to put ketchup and mustard and mayonnaise on it and hand it to me. That's all I need. I don't care what went into it. Just, is it good? Yes or no.
Mm-hmm. So you just, but you love the fruity beers.
No, I love a fruity beer.
A fruity beer.
I love a fruity grapefruit beer, which is wonderful.
Right.
Other than that, what do you have that is American light and cold? That's all I care about.
Because for you, it's all about quantity, not quality.
I like domestic light and cold. That is literally all I require. And I will go from pillar to post. The one that you might have consumed one too many of in high school to the highest end of that, which I don't really know what that is.
Mm-hmm.
That has to be Yingling or something like that.
Yes.
Of which I will consume one of those happily.
Yeah, I believe that is the oldest brewery.
I will wager that there
Sam
will
Adams.
be a multitude of those consumed.
Right.
Birthday.
Happy birthday to Jeremy once again, and the New York Jets, they heard it. They heard it, and
this
they
is gonna be
gave
about
you
Joe Flacco.
Joe Falco.
That's fine. They gave him $8.
And in a even more useless signing, the Carolina Panthers are bringing in Rashard Higgins.
You know what? That will be great when they have Baker Mayfield throw it to him. I couldn't help it.
Oh, here it comes. The Panther fans are going to jump into the chat now. Don't you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby.
No, what's funny is I said that just so that a slew of them would come back and go, I'm not sure I'd rather have Baker Mayfield than Sam Darnold. I know. No. I've been saying that for 5 years.
Jason Trump really wants to know what you think about ciders. You down with the ciders?
The next one. I don't. I mean, I could count on one hand the number of beverages I've ever consumed and just gone, no. Guinness.
Mm-hmm.
Out.
Yep. But you're okay with
this is like breaking the fourth wall of you don't ever slight companies because I got news for you. I couldn't fake drinking that. So that one, it is what it is. But other than that, I'm fine. I don't care. Cider.
I like them all. I'm not picky.
There is a cidery here in Asheville that I'm pretty fond of.
We have a lot of them.
I only know of one. But I'm also a creature of habit, so I go to the same 4 places.
We have several cideries in this town, and it's much like the breweries. You can find something that you dig at all of them. It doesn't really matter. Some are better than others, but you can find something you like at each and every one of them. Hoping that the Deshaun Watson deal is going to get finalized at some point today. Report out today as well in NFL free agency that the LA Rams are close to re-signing Von Miller. I don't feel like that's a big surprise to the whole lot of people.
It shouldn't be. The Cowboys made a run, but they have now apparently flexed to Zadarius Smith.
Okay.
That is where their attention has gone.
Which I would love that. I think that'd be a great replacement.
It's fine.
For Randy Gregory.
The Cowboys are going to be one of my losers of free agency.
Why?
The Randy Gregory deal has not sat well with me. You've gone big game hunt. You lost Connor Williams, of which, look, I understand you benched him. the Lyle Collins thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a lot of losing players for nothing, which I'm never a big fan of, especially good, talented players.
Right.
I don't think they've done particularly well. And I think it's going to manifest itself pretty quickly. Because I think the Philadelphia Eagles will be better, and I don't think Dallas has gotten better.
So if they had, trotted these guys out on the trade market, what could they have gotten back? Are you talking about a couple of fifth-round picks that they missed out on, or what?
I don't care what you got.
Okay.
Now, it's one thing if you're going to get compensatory picks.
Mm-hmm.
Zadarius Smith does not count to the compensatory formula. But you were running out after Von Miller. Okay. By the way, the L.A. Rams model that everybody likes to throw at me about, draft picks don't matter. Did you happen to see how many compensatory picks they got?
Oh, it's like 6?
Yeah. See, you have to stay out of free agency for that to work.
Right.
Because you need those comp picks.
I think it was 39 total comp picks were awarded yesterday by the NFL. Those will be split amongst 16 teams, and the LA Rams got 6 of them. There was another team that got 6 of them as well, but I can't remember who it was off the top of my head.
I don't remember off the top of my head. I've looked at I've got the order solely because we've got a mock draft coming up. Hopefully tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
I thought the Deshaun Watson thing would be done by now.
I know my team only got 1, and it was like the next to last pick in the draft. Woo! Thank you, NFL.
Sports ball. Rob Johnson asked in the comments, do the Giants trade James Bradberry? I'm glad you mentioned that because they're adamantly trying to do it right now. $2 million of his salary guarantees in 19 minutes. So they are feverishly working the phones trying to peddle James Bradberry. So we could have news on that within the next. They want to get it done by 4 o'clock.
Right.
Whether that's possible or not, it's not always possible.
That's right. New league year starts off at 4 o'clock, right?
Yep.
Okay. All right. So we may very well have breaking news during this program coming up later. One big announcement in the NFL today was that the deal is finalized for Monday Night Football. Joe Buck and Troy Aikman will be together for their 21st year of broadcasting together, which is a feat that I feel like only one other tandem has done.
This ties them.
It ties them?
It's Pat Summerall and John Madden.
Yep.
They were together for 21 years.
Yep.
This ties that record. That will probably never come close to being touched again.
But will you be upset not to hear them on a Super Bowl again?
No. I don't really care about the commentators on during the Super Bowl. That's the one game where I can completely get away from them because I virtually never watch that game in my house.
That's very true. We're usually out somewhere watching it with friends and fans, or like this year, we're here covering it live in the studio. No, we didn't do that this year.
I was about to say.
No, we didn't do that. We did all the playoff games. It all runs together for me now. But yeah, Joe Buck, Troy Aikman, Monday Night Football. It is a done deal. Have you seen any movement on Amazon? Has there been any rumblings on who's going to join Kirk Herbstreit?
Yeah, it's Al Michaels. It's already done.
Oh, it's done?
Yeah, it's done.
How
It'll
did
be
I
Al
miss
Michaels
that?
and Kirk Herbstreit. I don't know. Probably the same way that you keep coming to me with things 4 hours after they break. Going, did you see J.D. McKissick went back to Washington? Yes, I did.
Stop it.
1/6 of a day ago.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't have the sources that you have.
I only have like 8 of those, and that's not usually where I get information like that from.
Because my source was Adam Schefter, and that was 30 minutes that I said, hey, J.D. McKissick's going back. He's like, oh, I knew that like 10 hours ago. What are you doing?
This is 4.
Listen, Mr. Birthday Boy.
It's my birthday. I can cry if I want to.
That's true. It is your birthday. And just because of that, Caleb Peak has worked up a special chew on that just for Jeremy's birthday, talking about his favorite sport of all. Yes, it is baseball time. Caleb Peak talking about how sad Atlanta Braves fans have to be right now with Freddie Freeman. Let's get into it. Brought to you by Ingles Markets.
It was a quick decision, but when you look at everything, every box is checked here. Obviously, winning World Series, got a big young core. It's my hometown. family lives in Atlanta. There's just, the list could go on. And to be able to get a long deal done, and something that I've always kind of wanted to do in the hometown, is something I jumped at.
He's not just here so he won't get fined. I'm Caleb Peak. This is Chew on That, brought to you by Ingles Markets. Low prices, love the savings. What you just heard is the newest member of the Atlanta Braves, Matt Olson, explaining why being back in Georgia is just peachy with him. But outside the friendly confines of the conference room where this introductory presser was taking place, Olson's reception back home was, for the most part, devoid of Southern hospitality. Of course, the only reason Matt Olson is a Brave in the first place is to try and cauterize the wound both in the lineup and down the first base line that was left by Freddie Freeman's departure for whoever offers him the most money at this point. Oh, the Braves will still sign Freddie as a DH, they screamed online. Like Alex Anthopoulos would actually spend $168 million on the new guy just to turn right around and spend even more to keep Freddie on staff while he does half the work? It's simple economics. If you were in the Atlanta front office, would you make a deal like that? I didn't think so. It's not helping you. Which is why it's time for Braves fans, baseball fans, sports writers, talking heads, and national media alike to once again take a page out of the Aaron Rodgers playbook. Just RELAX. Relax and see this deal for what it is. This is fine. Everything is going to be okay, especially in Atlanta, because Matt Olson belongs here. When the Freddie Freeman sweepstakes officially opened following the presentation of the Commissioner's Trophy last fall, Atlanta were the clear frontrunners to keep Freddie in town. Lowball offers were made and a couple were summarily rejected by the Freeman camp. No worries, right? It's a business, and good businesses are good at negotiating. It's all part of the game. Then the lockout hit. The second longest work stoppage in the history of the majors, behind only the infamous mid-season player strike of 1994. And while Chelsea and Freddie Freeman are sitting at home, barred from any official baseball activity, you know the conversation turned to money. Honey, how much do you think you're really worth? The answer to that question is more than $168 million. The Freemans knew it. The front office at 755 Battery Avenue knew it. And every red-blooded member of Atlanta Braves Nation realized that even if Freddie were offered an astronomical figure, it wouldn't be for more than 3 or 4 years max. And even $150 million on a 1 or 2 year deal just wasn't going to happen. The time was coming sooner rather than later when the plug would need to be pulled. So instead of slowly exposing the wound to minimize the pain, Anthopoulos ripped off the Band-Aid all in one motion. That's a good managerial move. Why? Because now the vitriol is settling. The initial shock is subsiding for a majority of Braves fans, and now that the smoke is clearing, we're seeing what we've really got. An excellent young first baseman who can do everything that Freddie Freeman can. He just hasn't been given the opportunity yet. This will be Matt Olson's second full year as a starter in Major League Baseball. He's 27, same as yours truly, and carries himself in a lot of ways like Freddie Freeman. Quietly, respectfully, with maturity. But on the diamond, he's burst onto the scene like Ric Flair, scooping low throws and sending balls into orbit in Oakland, a city that doesn't even like its own club. This deal just works, mainly because Matt Olson was already in Atlanta's crosshairs before Freeman was ever really on the table. It's always nice to feel wanted, especially when the organization courting you is basically 2 cul-de-sacs away from where you grew up. Olson's a product of Lilburn, Georgia, 30 minutes outside of Hotlanta on a good traffic day, and he played at the same high school as, wait for it, Jeff Francoeur, right fielder extraordinaire and a solid member of TBS's baseball coverage. Freddie Freeman definitely had a flair for the dramatic, stepping up in the biggest moments, whether offensively or defensively, to push Atlanta over the top. You hoped, anyway. The one knock I have against Freddie Freeman is his streakiness. You know it's true. There was never any way to tell which Freddie Freeman you would get on any given night. Would he go 4-for-4 or would he wear the sombrero? Would he make the scoop at first to keep the leadoff runner off the base paths? Or would he be caught off the bag on a hard-hit ball, letting a routine force out at first turn into a stand-up double? Here's the thing. Olson is going to make some boneheaded plays at first. First base is not an easy position to occupy, simply because the amount of pressure is so much greater. Every fundamental has to be done perfectly for things to work out the way they should. And it's your job to bail out Dansby Swanson or Austin Riley when they try to throw it into the dugout. Olson can do that. He's already got 2 gold gloves to show for it. Batting third or fourth in the order, as I'm sure he will without Freeman taking up the slugging spot, is a chance for Olson to really make his mark. He's a lefty killer, so facing a southpaw is no problem. 142 home runs over his first 575 games are the 10th most in Major League history. Sure, Freddie Freeman could stroke, but make no mistake, so can this kid. Braves fans, relax. We got a good one in Olson. And we got him for 8 years, 3 years longer than the next time we'll even have to think about the term lockout. Oh, and we still had enough money left over to bring back Eddie Rosario for a couple years. All I can say is, things change, and people change too. We've got our first baseman. Now just give me opening day. I'm Caleb Peak. That's something to chew on.
I believe real estate isn't about properties. It's about people. I am Clarissa Marshall with eXp Realty, serving all of Western North Carolina. Navigating the home buying and selling journey can feel overwhelming at times, and that's why having an agent who cares about you and your needs is key. I'm a native of Western North Carolina, and I close over a home a week. I'm an expert in the market, pricing my sellers correctly to net you the most money, and working as a skilled negotiator for my buyers. Please give me a call today at 828-774-6343 to set up a complimentary market analysis.
The underdog. The long shot. The nobody from nowhere, never gonna happen 100 to 1 shot. We know something about that. We're with you every step of the way.
This week at Ingles, select 6 to 12 count Laurelin Cuddly Soft Bath Tissue, $3.98 each. Select sizes and varieties Kellogg's Frosted Flakes or Fruit Loop cereal, 2 for $4. And select sizes and varieties Tide Laundry Detergent, $12.98 each. Ingles, low prices, love this
Have
savings.
you ever felt depressed about work, only to have your dad be like, "Why are you so down?" So you told him you hate your job, and he said, "Well, you better talk yourself out of it." And then you thought, I love to talk. I could host a podcast. And then you went to Spreaker from iHeart and started a podcast and got good at it, then monetized it, then quit your boring job, then told your dad, "Thanks for the advice." And he was like, "Well, that's not what I meant, and I don't understand what a podcast is, but you seem happy, so that's great, kiddo." You ever do that? Well, you could. At Spreaker.com. That's Spreaker. Ask your dad. You actually don't.
Look at this. JD Power awarded Cricket #1 customer service and purchase experience in the MVNO segment.
Huh. Award-winning service has a nice ring to it. Say it again.
Award-winning service.
Again.
Hear ye, hear ye. Announcing 2 more reasons to switch to Cricket and their award-winning service.
Wow, it does have a nice ring to it. Switch and see for yourself.
For JD Power 2022 wireless customer care and purchase experience mobile network operator performance studies award information, visit jdpower.com/awards.
iHeartRadio Earth knows small changes make a big difference for the environment. Did you know that keeping your tires even a single PSI lower than recommended means worse mileage and more trips to the pump? So do the environment and your wallet a favor and always check the tire pressure. Brought to you by iHeartRadio Earth and the National Environmental Education Foundation. To find more tips on smarter, sustainable living or to take action in your own community, go to iHeartRadio.com/earth.
Welcome to Allstate, where we bring it all together. And bundling your home and auto is good, right? And it saves you up to 25%. It all comes together. Allstate. Here, better protection costs a whole lot less. You're in good hands with Allstate. Click, call, or visit allstate.com to save today.
Bundled savings discounts will vary by state. Saving up to 25% is a countrywide average of savings off the home policy. Combining the multiple policy discount for having auto insurance with Allstate and the welcome discount savings at enrollment.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. So you need to change your oil. Right now you can get 5 quarts of Valvoline Daily Protection or Valvoline Max Life High Mileage Motor Oil with an STP oil filter, plus an STP air filter or cabin air filter for just $36.99. Visit one of our 6,000 stores or order from AutoZone.com for same-day store pickup or next-day delivery.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Okay, I don't know who needs to hear this, but if you're not shopping spring essentials at Kohl's, you're missing out. I just got 20% off the cutest outfit from Sonoma Goods for Life, 25% off Hurley, which my son loves, and 25% off Champion and Adidas. Did I mention I also got an extra 15% off and earned Kohl's cash? Here's to longer days and more time to save. Select styles, 15% offer ends March 20th. Hurley, Champion, Adidas, coupons do not apply. Some exclusions apply. See store or Kohl's.com for details.
Coffee's for closers only.
Get them the money.
Then when you get the money, you get the power.
That watch costs more than your car.
Then when you get the power, then you get the woman.
Ah! It only took my birthday, but a perfect Tuesday night.
Finally.
We look to continue the winning ways. I got 4 picks for you in the NBA. First, the Chicago Bulls are a 7-point dog tonight at Philadelphia. Look, I'm going to be really honest with you. Chicago is catching entirely too much shade. And they're at Utah, by the way.
Okay.
Wrong
All
team.
Right. All right.
I was like, that doesn't sound right because I feel like I'm picking the 76ers later. Oh, I am. They're at Chicago. They're a 7-point dog. I understand that this team has not been as good without Lonzo Ball. They're still good. And Vegas is sliding them every opportunity they get. Utah's good. They're not this good. Give me the Bulls plus the 7. Next, the Charlotte Hornets are a 1-point favorite tonight against the Atlanta Hawks. I will never understand what it is that Vegas sees in Atlanta. This is a one-man band, Trae Young. Who's going to be on Trae Young? It's LaMelo Ball. Gives up a lot of size. I don't think this game stays even vaguely close. With the injuries they have and no John Collins, it's Trae Young and nothing else. That's not what messes with one of the worst defensive teams in the league. Give me the Hornets minus the 1. Finally, those 76ers I referenced earlier are at the Cleveland Cavaliers. They're a 2.5-point favorite. Over-under is 219.5. I said this about Jared Allen when they played the Brooklyn Nets. How'd that work? I said it when they played the LA Clippers. How'd that work? Well, it's going to happen again tonight because there's no Jared Allen. There is a Joel Embiid. This one's easy. Give me the Sixers minus 2.5 over 219.5.
Go and do likewise, gents. The money's out there. You pick it up, it's yours. You don't, I got no sympathy for you.
And you can take those wagers to betus.com. Use our promo code Sportsocracy, and when you make your deposit, they will give you a 125% deposit bonus. betus.com, promo code Sportsocracy. Today's a good day, not just because it's Jeremy's birthday. I'm down another 4 pounds this week on the PhD weight loss program. I am 1.2 pounds away from my 50-pound bag. It has been 15 weeks, and I have lost almost 50 pounds on the PhD weight loss program. I love this program. It's working for me, and it can work for you, just like it does for Jeremy.
I am back down to my high school weight. I will be seeing old friends tonight, and I have a feeling they're going to say the same thing that everyone that's seen me over the course of the last few weeks has said. You look different.
Right.
Well, it's because I've lost a great deal of weight. Convenience is what got me in this shape. Fast food was always more convenient. So is PhD. Convenient, nutritious food. I'm sleeping better. I feel better, and it's all because of PhD.
And it's not, they give you 80% of the food that you need. You don't need to do all of this massive meal planning like you do with some other programs. PhD Weight Loss could put you on the fast track to a healthier life. MyPhDWeightLoss.com. It's MyPhDWeightLoss.com. We have the best bets for the opening rounds of the NCAA tournament. It all kicks off in earnest tomorrow. We had the first 4 last night. Did you get any thrills out of that Indiana game last night, Jeremy? No,
I didn't watch a second of it.
You didn't watch a second of it. You got a big one coming up tonight as well. We'll go over the best bets for the opening round of the NCAA tournament coming up after the top of the hour. Jones Angell, the voice of the North Carolina Tar Heels, will also join us from Texas.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Mostly cloudy skies tonight with scattered showers, tapering off a little later tonight, mid-40s. Patchy morning fog and clouds for Thursday. Sunshine mixing in as we head into and through the afternoon. Milder upper 60s. Afternoon showers Friday, low 60s. Our weekend forecast, dry weather, mix of clouds and sun. Middle to upper 60s for us on Saturday, cooling back into the 50s for Sunday with middle to upper 50s for afternoon highs. I'm meteorologist Ken Boone at the Weather Channel.
This report is sponsored by Mattress Firm. Shop today at Mattress Firm to save up to $500 on a king bed for a queen price. Plus, get a free adjustable base with qualifying purchases. Don't forget, hot buys and immediate delivery, too.
Celebrate the music you loved listening to all year.
Plus, your favorite artists will take home iHeartRadio Music Awards.
Don't miss our 2022 iHeartRadio Music Awards.
Watch exclusively on Fox.
This Tuesday night at 8.
We're all looking forward to getting back to real-life moments. Thanks to COVID vaccines that help prevent severe illness, we can do this. The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services is proud to help celebrate the iHeartRadio Music Awards. Visit vaccines.gov today.
Asheville, masters of rock and roll rap, sir.
March 18th and 19th, Monster TNT explodes into the egg center. Metallic monsters and raw horsepower. Tickets now at monstertnt.com or buy at Allen's Jewelry and Pawn for free pit passes.
Are you a safe driver? Are you looking to save money? With DriveWise from Allstate, the safer you drive, the more you can save. At Allstate, better protection costs a whole lot less. Visit allstate.com or call an agent for a quote today.
From the Ingles Studios, this is ESPN Asheville, WPEK, W225CJ Fairview, WMXF Waynesville, and iHeart radio station.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. The new NFL League year has just arrived. Chandler Jones, one of the NFL's top pass rushers over the last several years, has agreed to a 3-year contract with the Raiders worth more than $51 million. In the wake of the Browns meeting with Texans quarterback Deshaun Watson, their current quarterback Baker Mayfield posted a message to social media which seemed like a goodbye to the city of Cleveland and fans. The Browns, Falcons, Saints, Panthers all trying to acquire Watson from Houston. Cutting ties with Mayfield is best for the Browns long term, believes our Bart Scott.
Baker Mayfield is closer to Chase Daniels than he is to the elite quarterbacks within his league. And I think that they recognize that listen, we can be good and we can win games, but we're not a legitimate threat, especially when all they have to do is look within the division. And with Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson,
Bart on Greene, Watson is facing 22 civil lawsuits alleging sexual assault and inappropriate conduct. Red Sox ace Chris Sale has a stress fracture in his rib cage. He won't be ready for the start of the season. It will be weeks before he resumes throwing again. Slugger Kyle Schwarber's agreed to sign with the Phillies. The rebuilding A's dealt third baseman Matt Chapman to the Blue Jays for minor league prospects.
How would you love a chance to save some money on car insurance? Geico can help. Switch today and see all the ways you could save with great rates and discounts. It's easy. Simply go to geico.com to get a rate quote and get started seeing how much you could save.
He's a degenerate gambler.
You are a smelly pirate hooker.
And he's cheaper than oxygen.
He's useless.
But somehow, they make it work. Jeremy Greene, Tank Spencer. There's no holding back in the Sportsocracy, presented by Ingles Supermarkets.
And welcome back into the Ingles Studio here on ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. We are the Sportsocracy. I'm Tank Spencer. The birthday boy, Jeremy Greene, is here as well. And second hour of the program here, we're gonna talk some basketball because it's all kicking off in earnest tomorrow.
Breaking news.
Oh, breaking news. Hold on. Hang on. Got to get back to my page. Breaking news. There we go.
Who's gonna break the news? Who's gonna break the news? Who's gonna break the news? Who's gonna break the news?
As though the free agent market needed another receiver, we have one. This is from Diana Rossini. The Tennessee Titans are releasing Julio Jones. That trade did not quite work out in your favor.
Not so much. He warned you against it to begin with, and you got what we all expected. An old Julio Jones who wasn't going to be able to play very many games for you.
He played 10.
Mm-hmm.
He had 48 targets and 31 catches.
Yikes.
And you gave up a second-round pick for that.
Mm-hmm. And what in the world could he fetch on the open market? You think he still demands high money?
He's to the 1-year deal period of his career. I would say he probably, and this is, it literally just came across my desk, so I have not thought about this for more than 15 seconds.
Right.
I would say he probably gets somewhere in the neighborhood of $8 million on an incentive-laden deal that could swell to 12 with a contender. Who that could be?
I was going to say, question is,
I don't have a good answer to that. The receiver market has developed really slowly. That's why Allen Robinson's just sitting back going, you'll come to my number eventually.
Right. Because you'll realize how thin it gets.
That almost guarantees to me that the Tennessee Titans take a receiver at the back end of the first round. I had them taking a tight end. Now you need a second receiver to pair with. And the the more time goes on, I don't think I would ever do anything with a 30-year-old receiver.
No.
We've always said that with running backs.
I feel like
receiver has officially gotten to that point.
Yeah.
I mean, just think about how many high-level receivers have gone somewhere else after 30, and how many of them have been terrible.
Mm-hmm.
A.J. Greene and Julio Jones, the most recent.
I was going to say, how many receivers past the age of 30 can you name that had really good seasons after that? I mean, the first one that comes to my mind is Larry Fitzgerald. But he's all-time great first ballot Hall of Famer.
Well, I mean,
and I'm not saying Julio Jones is not.
I was about to say.
I'm not saying he's not. I'm just saying, his young years were really, really good. His later years have not been anything to write home about.
This will be designated as a post-June 1 deal. Frees up $9.5 million for the Titans, $4.8 million in dead money.
That's not bad.
Yeesh.
That's not bad.
Green Bay, first one that came to my mind.
Okay.
If I'm Green Bay, I will give you $4 million. Do you want it? You want it?
You will compete for a title. It might just be an NFC title, but you'll compete for a title.
I'm going to level with you, and this goes to something that our next mock draft will be coming out hopefully tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
I need Deshaun Watson to be moved somewhere because that does change things quite a deal.
Right. We're not going to put all this on tape and go through the process of putting it out and then, an hour
if
later.
I set everything because we're going to do a 3-round mock draft, each one of your teams. This is an extra one. I usually don't do one of these.
Mm-hmm.
But, it's birthday.
Right.
I feel like getting an extra one in. I've thought this and I've been saying it for a while. There are always receivers. It's one thing when it happens a year or two in a row. We're on like year 7 where receiver goes 8 or 9 guys deep of high-end 1s and 2s. I would argue receiver is getting to the point running back is, and receiver is getting closer to that mean. Why would I ever pay a guy? Name me any Chris Godwin. I'll give you a great example of it.
Mm-hmm.
And this ties into something else I want to talk about. There is a possibility that Chris Godwin's not going to be a Tampa Bay Buccaneer next year. This has been buzzing around the old interwebs since you signed Russell Gage. Of when they gave the tag to Chris Godwin, they didn't know Tom was coming back. So they've leveraged themselves to the umpteenth degree. So now they have this piece that does have a modicum of trade value, and there is a possibility. I'm not saying that's pending. I'm not saying it's close. It's just something that has been buoyed about by that front office.
Absolutely. Should we trade, after tagging, should we now trade Chris Godwin? And I'm here for it. I'm all in on, because I still feel like giving him the franchise tag was a bad deal. Unless you were going to be able to get him to sign an affordable extension. But I don't think that's coming. I don't think it should. Chris Godwin's a guy that should not settle for less money. He should get his bag wherever he can. Any more breaking news before we get into the basketball talk?
All right. Not yet. Sorry.
We're waiting for that Deshaun Watson shoe to drop because as soon as I open my mouth, I feel like it's going to happen. The NCAA tournament is underway. We had the first of the first 4 games last night. Indiana beats Wyoming, and they move on. Texas Southern also got a win over Texas A&M Community College, as Brian Hall likes to call them. No, it's Texas A&M Corpus Christi. Coming up tonight, we're going to see the Notre Dame Fighting Irish in action as they'll be taking on Rutgers. And then you also have the 16-seed game with Bryant and Wright State. Then tomorrow at 12:15, it all tips off with actually this is kind of how I wanted to go with this. When you're filling out your brackets, you can join our bracket game as well. The link is in the description of this video. Have we settled the password thing yet? The password is what?
Both now work. It's either Mullet Magic, which was the password last year, or Tank Drink Zimas.
Okay. All right. So you have your choice.
You can slight whichever one of us you want. We have no way of knowing that.
Yeah, Mullet Magic or Tank Drinks Zimas is the password to our bracket game. Again, the link in the description of this video. You can also, I believe, just search it and join.
We're the only the Sportsocracy that I have seen.
Exactly. Join the ESPN Bracket Challenge at ESPN.com. And, you can join our little group. As I posted on social media earlier today, a Canadian won it last year, so we need to bring the title back home to the States, okay? We need everybody to participate in this as much as possible because I've already seen where Patrick Holt, one of our big fans, founding father of the Democratic Republic of Sports, has about 12 entries into our contest
5.
Already.
You're maxed out at I think you can put up to 6.
You can put up to 6?
I think.
Okay. So anyway, I'm trying to stack the deck there a little bit, but yay. It's allowed in the rules of the game. You go for it. But filling out a bracket this year has been crazy. Like, you're always trying to predict what upsets are most likely to happen and then put that in the correct order so you can win the bracket game. Tomorrow at 12:15, tip-off of the first upset special of the first weekend or the first day of the NCAA tournament in full is Colorado State against Michigan. I think that's the one that I've seen most experts around the basketball world go, yeah, this one could be, because Michigan ended up as an 11 seed. Colorado State comes in as a 6 seed, and it's a 1.5 point spread Michigan's way.
They're also bad, which I think people really need to take that into account.
That Michigan is bad?
That team is not good. Oh, they have a lot of talent.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Colorado State's pretty good, too. To me, I don't see Michigan winning that.
You don't see Michigan winning that.
There are not a ton of upsets.
Mm-hmm.
I think there is one tomorrow.
I think the thing that people are looking at with Michigan is the size. The size is going to be a problem for Colorado State. Colorado State ranks in the 300s when it comes to average height of your basketball team. And when you have Hunter Dickinson and Caleb Houston, yeah, I feel like Michigan's got the upper hand there.
Oh, I mean, I could see
that's
it
why
happening.
they're a popular pick.
It's really hard for me to count on Michigan.
Oh, and I don't disagree.
There have been times that team looks like they met each other on the way through the tunnel.
Mm-hmm. I do not disagree with that. Who is your upset special for day one of round one?
South Dakota State. Playing Providence.
Yeah.
This did not set up nicely for Providence.
Yeah.
I like that team a lot. I thought they were going to be better than a 13.
Mm-hmm.
And it told me everything I needed to know when Vegas set the line, and it's done nothing but go down, and now it's down to Providence -2.
Yep. 4 seeds against 13 seeds. That upset has happened 31 times in the NCAA tournament, and average is one a year since 2015. In fact, we had 2 of them last year. Ohio upsetting Virginia, North Texas beating Purdue. Providence is very maddeningly inconsistent, and that's one thing that South Dakota State is not. I mean, I get that they come from, the Summit League?
Yes.
And they have ruled with an iron fist. In fact, did you know, Jeremy, that the South Dakota State Jackrabbits could miss all of their next 80 three-point attempts and still lead the NCAA in three-point percentage? They are number one by a mile over everybody. They shoot 44% from three-point range.
They are a dangerous team.
Mm-hmm. And that opens things up for them around the rim as well. And they shoot 61% from around the rim. So it doesn't stack up very well for Ed Cooley's Providence Friars.
Yeah, I don't like. That's one that I do look at the upset. If you're curious as to why, just for posterity's sake, 3-14 or 14-13 matchups. Here are the lines for tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Longwood's an 18-point dog to Tennessee.
Tennessee covers.
And I would say reasonably easily. Vermont is a 5-point dog to Arkansas. That's the other one I wanted to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Akron is a 14.5-point dog to UCLA. Then you have little South Dakota State. It's a 2-point dog.
Yep.
That's Vegas going, we think they're going to win this, but we need to keep this action on one side of the ledger, so we're daring you to take Providence.
Mm-hmm. Vermont is one of the most offensively efficient teams in all of college basketball. They start 5 seniors. This is a nightmare matchup for any team in the NCAA tournament. They have all the makings of a Cinderella. All of the Cinderellas that we've seen over the past few years. I mean, even going to Loyola Chicago and their Final Four run. That was a very veteran team who played really sound, fundamental basketball. And Arkansas is a team that can be super cold offensively. And if they have a bad offensive game, it's a very winnable game for the Catamounts. So, I like that. I like that as a possible upset pick coming tomorrow afternoon.
Those are the only 2 I really see tomorrow.
Okay.
Tomorrow's, it looks incredibly chalky.
I would go San Francisco against Murray State.
That's
There's
not
a chance.
really an upset to me. Those 2 teams are it's a razor-thin difference.
Yeah, seeding-wise, though.
Sorry, I ain't going upset with an 8-9 or 7-10. You could flip those teams, and I wouldn't care.
Right. But I like Murray State against San Francisco, but it's going to be a hell of a game. And then also tomorrow, you have North Carolina and Marquette in an 8-9 game. We'll talk more about that coming up at 4:30 with Jones Angell, the voice of the North Carolina Tar Heels. Tar Heels are a 3.5-point favorite, and Marquette is trying to get under the skin. Their social media team posting out all this 1977 stuff. I feel like you're grasping at straws if you're trying to fall back on a 1977 win in the NCAA championship.
It's a bad sign.
Yeah, it's the only thing that you have. Thankfully, now Marquette did beat Carolina last year, but thankfully we don't have to put up with Dawson Garcia. Bad part is neither does Marquette because Dawson Garcia obviously transferred to Carolina and is not playing the rest of this year. That Memphis-Boise State game is going to be really good as well.
See, I don't think so.
You think Memphis blows them out?
Nope.
You think Boise State wins?
I do.
Big?
I think it's pretty convincing.
Really?
Memphis is really, really infuriating.
But they're 12-2 in their last 14 games. They're pretty hot.
Look who those wins are against.
Who knows? Amoni Bates might play.
And
what?
He hasn't been particularly good when he has played.
Yeah.
So
he still has the potential.
Remember when he was supposed to be the next LeBron James?
Oh yeah,
that was a fun hour.
Oh yeah, a fun hour.
Yeah, you're talking about what'd you say? They were
12-2 in their last 14.
Do you have any idea who those wins are against?
Yeah, I imagine they probably did they beat Houston in that stretch?
Yes.
Once. Okay. All right.
Other than that, it was Tulsa, East Carolina, Central Florida, Tulane. Oh, no, they beat Houston twice.
There you go.
Cincinnati, Temple, Wichita State, South Florida, Central Florida again, and SMU.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, that's not real impressive to me. Oh, great. You beat a bunch of nobodies.
How many?
Hey, you remember when you went Iowa State, Georgia, Ole Miss, Murray State, and got housed by all but one of them? Because I remember.
Mm-hmm.
I don't buy Memphis at all.
Okay. All right. So no other big what?
We have breaking news about a certain Houston Texans quarterback.
Oh no.
Who's gonna break the news? Who's gonna break the news? Who's gonna break the news? Who's gonna break the news?
This is what you've been waiting for. The Houston Texans have made a move at quarterback. They signed Kyle Allen. You should have known by the way I said that the second time.
Right.
However, there actually is a Deshaun Watson update. It's from Jay Glazer. Teams involved in the Deshaun Watson trade talks believe an answer is imminent, perhaps as early as today.
Okay.
That is what I have continued to hear as well. I think this is done by tonight.
All right.
Atlanta's the only reason that it's not done already.
Kyle Allen signs with the Houston Texans.
That's tremendous. It'll be a great backup to Davis Mills.
Yeah. Gross. By the way, have you checked their roster that they've been putting together in free agency?
Oh,
it's the same as last year.
Gross.
They're just getting whoever.
Nick Casario looks at that roster and goes, "Hey, I bet we can go 2-15 again."
You're in the Sportsocracy here on ESPN Asheville. Weird news is coming up next.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Mostly cloudy skies tonight with scattered showers, tapering off a little later tonight, mid-40s. Patchy morning fog and clouds for Thursday. Sunshine mixing in as we head into and through the afternoon. Milder upper 60s. Afternoon showers Friday, low 60s. Our weekend forecast, dry weather, mix of clouds and sun. Middle to upper 60s for us on Saturday, cooling back into the 50s for Sunday with middle to upper 50s for afternoon highs. I'm meteorologist Ken Boone at the Weather Channel.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
40 westbound near mile marker 44, the Smoky Park Highway. Highway Patrol reporting a disabled vehicle and saying the right shoulder is closed. Not seeing any backups in the area at the moment. In Haywood County, 40 westbound is stop and go between Fines Creek Road and Harmon-Den Road due to construction. Hendersonville Road moving incident-free. Sweeten Creek Road north and southbound in the Royal Pines area seeing some delays. Mills Gap Road moving well. I'm Lyndon Field with your Time Saver traffic.
This report is sponsored by Wendy's Breakfast, now with a free drink with any breakfast sandwich purchase. The number one pick is in. Wendy's Breakfast, the official breakfast of March Madness. Choose your starting lineup, like the Breakfast Baconator or Honey Butter Chicken Biscuit, and enjoy oven-baked bacon, fresh cracked eggs, seasoned breakfast potatoes, and Simply OJ. Choose wisely, choose Wendy's.
As the country bounces back from COVID and mask mandates are lifted, your business needs a lift too. Promote your company right here, right now. Radio ads connect with 93% of Americans every week. That's more than Google, more than Facebook, more than TV. In fact, radio reaches 20% more millennials than TV. Want more of the people you want to talk to all in one place? Visit iHeartAdvertising.com and get AM and FM working for you. That's iHeartAdvertising.com.
Look at this. J.D. Power awarded Cricket #1 customer service and purchase experience in the MVNO segment.
Huh. Award-winning service has a nice ring to it. Say it again.
Award-winning service.
Ooh, again.
Hear ye, hear ye. Announcing 2 more reasons to switch to Cricket and their award-winning service.
Wow, it does have a nice ring to it. Switch and see for yourself.
For J.D. Power 2022 wireless customer care and purchase experience mobile network operator performance studies award information, visit jdpower.com/awards.
You could save big when you bundle your home and auto with Progressive, but when we just come out and say it, it feels like it falls a bit flat. So instead, we're going to have someone else say it. Because for some reason, when a random person talks about how great something is in a commercial, it's more believable.
I saved with a Progressive home and auto bundle.
And there you have it. I mean, I'm not sure why she's more believable than me, but either way, you get the point about the saving. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Discount not available in all states or situations.
Hey, Ray Magliozzi here. Have you ever cooked a really fine gourmet meal? Yeah, me neither. But I'm told it all comes down to the ingredients. And when I need ingredients to improve my car, the place I go is eBay Motors. Whether you roasted your last transmission, graded your current floor mats, or pureed your side view mirror on a lamppost, eBay Motors has the right parts at the right prices. 122 million of them. And by the way, if you recently fired up your grill, don't worry, eBay Motors has grills too. eBay Motors. Let's ride.
Welcome to Allstate, where we bring it all together. And bundling your home and auto is good, right? And it saves you up to 25%. It all comes together. Allstate. Here, better protection costs a whole lot less. You're in good hands with Allstate. Click, call, or visit allstate.com to save today.
Bundled savings discounts will vary by state. Saving up to 25% is a countrywide average of savings off the home policy. Combining the multiple policy discount for having auto insurance with Allstate and the welcome discount savings at enrollment.
It's ESPN Asheville 92.9 FM, 880 AM and 1400.
This is the song that's the reason I voted for KORN. I absolutely despise this song.
I'm a sucker for a fake clap track.
I keep holding on.
It's that time. The most overrated bands of all time. Bracket is our next matchup is live in the chat right now on YouTube. Tool against KORN, facing off to see who will take on Creed in the Elite Eight. We got Tool right now leading 56% to KORN's 44% in our latest Sweet 16 matchup.
Hey, that song wasn't terrible the first 5,000 times I heard it, and then they played it the next day.
Yeah.
Ugh. Oh, I hate that song. And now it's going to get stuck in my head, and it's just going to make me angry.
You're welcome. Happy birthday to Mr. Jeremy Greene. All right, let's get weird.
On the weird scale, there's Vegas, there's Florida, and there's Asheville. Let's get weird, Asheville.
Oh, Jeremy, a Nebraska man could be facing the death penalty after he tried to defraud the Sonic Drive-In in town for $57. Well, that's obviously a harsh penalty for trying to defraud the fast food restaurant, but it's what he did after he tried to do that he could be facing the death penalty for. So apparently, back in November of 2020, this guy who is, let's just put it nicely, he's a big old biggin, Mr. Roberto Silva Jr., he tried to go through the Sonic drive-thru, use the app, which apparently wasn't hooked up or was hooked to somebody else's credit card. He bought $57 worth of food from the Sonic drive-in.
Isn't that the place that has like dollar hot dogs?
Uh-huh.
How in the world do you spend $57 at a Sonic?
Again, I said he's a big old biggin. I don't know that he was trying to feed more than just himself, but $57 is a lot to spend at a Sonic drive-in. But the fine folks that work there realized that the payment wasn't going through or that it was going to somebody else's credit card, and they called the cops. The cops, and they investigated. They went and arrested Mr. Silva, and after they booked him, charged him, and he got out, he went back to the Sonic drive-in. Went back to the Sonic drive-in with a U-Haul and weapons. Sadly enough, he killed 2 people inside of the restaurant, injured 2 more, and he set the U-Haul on fire. I don't know if that was as a distraction or what, but here's the thing. Like, if you're facing a small crime, I don't see how this is going to make things better. And yes, he has pleaded guilty, but that is not going to save him from possibly facing the death penalty. The district attorney announcing today that, yes, he is going to seek the death penalty for Mr. Silva. Just small crimes, you can get over that. Bigger crimes, not so much.
An addendum to that story, if you're not using apps to order your fast food, you are a jerk.
It's much faster.
It is much faster. They will literally give you free money to do it. Get out of the way.
Over $57. Sad. But he's going to get his one way or the other.
There's a teacher at Chapman's Argyros School of Business and Economics.
Okay.
His name is David Berkowitz. Not that one. He's not the son of Sam.
Change your name.
Yeah, he really should. He should also change his legal strategery because he has filed a lawsuit in U.S. District Court alleging that one of his students engaged in copyright infringement by posting 2 exams of his on Course Hero. Course Hero is an app where you can do things like this to basically make it a lot easier to not be like I was in school and be a big old dum-dum. There's only one problem. He doesn't know who the student is. So he's suing a John Doe to engage a subpoena that would force Course Hero to tell him who filed this. Okay. Well, there's only one problem with that. Freedom of speech kind of allows you to do that. It's not copyright infringement, except with Course Hero it kind of is. Because according to them, there's a copyright from every professor and their tests. So how you word things, the order that you put them in, they give a, I don't really know what it would be called because it's not an official copyright, but to them, there is one.
It's like an intellectual property kind of thing.
Kind of, yeah. It's in the same ballpark. Right. Well, the only problem is that nobody outside of Course Hero recognizes that. So if they give up the student's name, in theory, the student could sue them back. This got very let's run in a circle as fast as we can. The entire time I read this article going, so what's the resolution here? This is going to get full, like, three-way Spider-Man standoff where they're all pointing guns at each other like, I sue you, you sue me.
All because he wanted to cheat on a test.
Here's the thing. He's in the business and economics school. Like, just let him cheat. I mean, good
Just
Lord.
let him cheat. Wow.
Hey, look, I do not encourage crimes. I also cannot even begin to think about how monotonous a test out of the Agiro School of Business and Econ could be.
Mm-hmm.
For if you were curious, the class was Business 215. There's a lot of good naps being taken in that class. I will bet you $1 to a donut.
That's one of those classes where you walk in a sweatshirt and a hoodie, and the professor goes, "No, I'm gonna need you to take that off."
I can't help but think of the Lewis Black line about classes that are taught at 9 a.m. What, are you trying to keep this a secret? That's the only explanation for any college course that is taught that early in the morning on that monotonous and boring of a subject. But don't do crimes. You're not supposed to do that. I don't actually understand how Course Hero is still a thing, because basically that's the whole reason it exists, is to do things just exactly like that. Post tests so other people can see them when they're not supposed to.
All right, it is it's in the 4:00 hour. It's on a different day, though. We had to do it today. Bring in the voice of the North Carolina Tar Heels, Jones Angell. Hey, I don't normally give you entrance music, but let's do it now. Yeah, we got to get all ramped up for the NCAA tournament as the Tar Heels down in Fort Worth, Texas, getting ready to take on the Marquette Golden Eagles coming up tomorrow. You'll hear it during our normal broadcast time right here on ESPN Asheville. And joining us, the voice of the North Carolina Tar Heels, Jones Angell. Jones, how's it going, bud?
Tank, great to be back with you. Like the entrance music there. Good work. And, excited to get things going tomorrow. Tar Heels just got back a little bit ago from their media responsibilities and open practice. They had a full regular practice before that at TCU as well. And so they're primed and ready to go, and so are we. So excited about getting things going tomorrow afternoon.
Excellent. Well, things did not go the way Tar Heel fans wanted it to in the ACC tournament. Got a good dominating win over Virginia in the first matchup, and then fell to Virginia Tech the next night, the eventual champion of the ACC tournament. So now there's been a good little period of rest in here for the Tar Heels. I heard Coach Davis talking about how big of a thing that's going to be as we start to make a run here in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, and I didn't really think, Tank, honestly, I didn't think Carolina played very well in those two games in the ACC tournament. Defensively, the Heels were really good in that game against Virginia, and Virginia has some challenges on the offensive end as well. That's been something that bothered them all season long. But I did think Carolina was good defensively in that game. But, they didn't really shoot the ball very well outside of Brady Manick in that first half. And, then some of those same troubles followed them in the second game against Virginia Tech. I actually thought Carolina defended pretty well in the first half of that game. Second half, things went a little differently. But, you look at Carolina's shooting numbers from the two games in the ACC tournament, they only shot 37.5% as a team and were just 9 of 49 from three-point range. And you're just not going to win many games if you're the Tar Heels, if you're many teams. Shooting 9 of 49 from behind the arc in two contests. And so I think you have to say, if you're Carolina, okay, that event's over. Clearly a bad couple of days as far as putting the ball in the basket. We know we're a better shooting team than that in total, have been the entire season. And so you just put that away, and now you move forward to the next event. I don't think you can let that carry over. Because then it starts to become a little bit more than just having a bad couple days. And Tank, we've talked about this at times through the year. I think Carolina's done a better job as this season's gone along, of focusing on other things, still doing other things well, even if the ball isn't going in. And I thought that was the case in the tournament. You know, that they didn't allow that negative shooting to carry over and really drastically affect the other parts of the game. It just got to the point where they were struggling to put the ball in the basket so much that it became too great to overcome. And so, for Carolina, you got to flush that away and see this as a fresh start and be ready to go against a really solid Marquette team coming up tomorrow.
Well, we know what weapons we're going to be bringing to the fight. What weapons is Marquette bringing to this battle coming up tomorrow evening?
I think the best way to think about Marquette is to think about Shaka Smart's teams at Texas, and even more than that at VCU. This is a very aggressive team, undersized, but they play really hard. They force some turnovers by both in full court pressure and by doing just aggressive half court defense. And they just try to make you uncomfortable as the offensive team. And so to me, that's the best way to think about them. And it's so weird, Tank. These two teams, played last year, but there's so much different between the two teams. Each team has a new head coach. Marquette only has one guy on its roster who even played in that game. And so while they only played, about a year ago, I just don't think there's a lot to take out of that game as far as the type of team that Marquette is or how these two teams may match up with one another. I just don't think it's super relevant. I think it's much more relevant if you're a Carolina fan just trying to get a feel for what this team might be like, to think about those Shaka Smart teams, like I said, particularly the VCU teams, where they were a little undersized but so aggressive in what they did. And so for Carolina, I think two things really important. One is take advantage of your advantage down low. Carolina is going to have a size advantage. Bacot will be the best post player by a mile in this game. And so can Carolina get him in position to be an effective player down low? Can he hit the glass hard like he's done all year and get you a bunch of second chance points? I think those things are really important. And then taking care of the basketball. And it sounds pretty obvious, but Marquette is so aggressive. They have average almost 8 steals a game, and those aren't just from full court press. They'll tip passes, they'll flash in front of somebody, they'll bother entries to the post, and so you've got to take care of the ball, make smart plays, and make quality passes.
I'm looking very forward to seeing what Armando Bacot and Brady Manek can do down low in this game. I mean, Brady has become just a force, not just on the court, but off the court as well. I think he has quickly become everybody's favorite player for the North Carolina Tar Heels. The branding and stuff, by the way, that I've seen with him it's kind of taken on a life of itself, and he's quickly becoming a fan favorite.
Well, I think anyone can appreciate the way that he plays. And I don't just mean out there shooting three-pointers. I mean how hard he plays.
Oh, yeah.
And that is that's evident when you watch him play, is that when he's out there, he is going all the time. He's a really smart, just kind of instinctual player. You can tell he's been around the game for a long time, and it's just one of those guys that seems to make the right cut or make the right move and just be in the right place a large majority of the time. And that's in addition to, of course, the fact that he's hit some big shots, and when he gets rolling from the outside, he's as dangerous as anybody on this Tar Heel team. And I do think, he is not Carolina's best defender, but he has worked hard on that side. And even if he gets beat, it's not because he's loafing or he's not trying or something like that. So I think even in an area of his game that is not considered his strength, is still something that you can appreciate how hard he works. And I think he's gotten better in that regard as the years gone on. And so, hard to imagine where this Tar Heel team would be without Brady Manek.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's been such a crucial part of what the Tar Heels are doing on a game in and game out basis. And, he's somebody that has some experience in this event. And I think that's worth remembering, Tank, is that, a lot of these Tar Heels they haven't really been in this event. Even last year's event, with no fans, and it was just such a different feel to it, with the teams being in the bubble and all those different things. Whereas, for Carolina, really only Leaky Black is the only one who has been a part of a quote-unquote real NCAA tournament, and that was back in 2019 because there was no event in 2020. Then last year was so odd. And so Brady Manek can fit into that same category as somebody who's been around this event before, that's played at a high level, and somebody that can lean on some of that experience as well. So I do think that's an invaluable asset as well.
Yeah, he's been around tournament action before. Of course, him coming from Oklahoma. I was reading earlier today as well, though he hasn't been out of the first weekend of the tournament with Oklahoma. So obviously that puts a little bit more into it. And in a year that has been up and down, and there has been a lot of shade thrown not only at players at times, but the coaching staff as well. I mean, Carolina in the end has now ended up with, an NCAA tournament bid, a 20-plus win season, finishing tied for second in the ACC. There's been a lot of those check marks or those boxes checked throughout the season. And now it's tournament time. And when you have people like Joe Lunardi out there telling fans that Carolina could be in the Elite Eight, it kind of builds that expectation even more for these guys.
Well, and I think, at Carolina, 24 wins and an NCAA tournament berth is not, the standard. That's not what you're expected. That's not where Carolina has set itself year in and year out. And having said that shouldn't mean that you dismiss it as not a successful season for this particular group. I think it is worth, again, reminding people a couple different things. One, this is a Tar Heel group that the last two seasons, I mentioned there was no tournament in 2020. Well, of course, Carolina wasn't going to make it anyway. The Heels were below 500 that year. And then last season, this was 18-11 team. And so that is worth remembering what you're working with here with Carolina. A brand new head coach, not just new to Carolina, but new to the head coaching position. A brand new coaching staff, a couple of new players that were plugged into important roles, two of your top 7 players that haven't been available since mid-January. So there are plenty of things to remember that have made this a challenging year and things that Carolina has had to overcome. And so, Hubert Davis said it when the Tar Heels were selected to the tournament that, it's not Carolina's God-given right to play in the NCAA. That's where the Heels expect to be. And that's where the program is in a large majority of the time. But it isn't just you roll the ball out there in November and you're going to be playing in March. You still have to go do something. And so is Carolina, are they going to shoot fireworks into the sky because they're an 8 seed and they made the tournament? No. But for this group this year, it's been a very solid season, a season in which they have improved as the year has gone along. And now you're in. And now nothing else matters. Now it is truly the old adage of one game at a time. And it is what is immediately in front of you. You try to get past that and do it again. And so that is in that sense, you have reached the goal of now you have a chance to do what you want to do. And that starts tomorrow against Marquette.
Yeah, it's gonna be a fun one as the Tar Heels get ready to take on the Marquette Golden Eagles. Here you got Hubert Davis against Shaka Smart. This is really a great coaching matchup.
Shaka Smart's done a really good job wherever he's been, and I think some eyebrows were raised when he left Texas to go to Marquette. That isn't one that you necessarily would think is a step up or even maybe a lateral move. But I do think, and this is just my opinion from the outside, it sure just feels like Marquette is a place that Shaka Smart fits into in the way that he's been successful as a coach in the past, the type of players that you can get at this particular place. It just feels like a good fit. And again, that isn't me being there day in and day out, but just from the outside looking in. And if you look at Marquette's season, they've got some nice wins. They beat Villanova twice. They beat Providence. They beat Illinois early in the year. They had a really impressive run. in the month of January, where they rolled off 6 or 8 straight wins and some really high quality victories in there as well. So, yeah, for his first stop or first year at a new stop with a lot of young players, he's done a really good job. I think he's recognized as a high quality coach. And so, this will be a challenge. This is not one for the Tar Heels that you can overlook and start thinking about, well, if you match up with Baylor, how can this happen and what could you do there? That would be a dangerous exercise for sure.
Yeah, well, that could be a fun matchup. We can't even start to worry about that until tomorrow is past. 3:30 airtime right here on ESPN Asheville. 4:30 is the scheduled tip time down in Fort Worth. Jones, we appreciate you taking the time with us each and every Thursday, and today being a Wednesday here on ESPN Asheville, and we will hopefully catch up with you next week where we're still talking about tournament basketball.
Sounds good, Tank. Appreciate the time. I'll talk to you soon.
You're in the Sportsocracy here on ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. It's time to see if Jeremy Greene can have some more winners tonight. Now, did you go perfect in the 5 on it last night as well?
I did.
Oh, so it was a full-on perfect sweep last night. Green on green.
5-0 last night.
And the 5 on it. Let's see what tonight's picks are going to be.
First, I got 25 on it. The Philadelphia 76ers are a 2.5-point favorite tonight. And that's pretty ridiculous to me. With no Jared Allen, it's the same problem that Cleveland's had. Look, I understand how good Evan Mobley is, and he's very talented. He's still a rookie, and now he's going to be the only living, breathing player that can combat Joel Embiid. Good luck with that. This number's ridiculous. Give me the 76ers minus 2.5. I got 25 on it. Next, Rutgers is a 1-point dog tonight against Notre Dame. I have been sliding Notre Dame for as long as I can remember, and it's not going to stop now.
Okay.
Rutgers is to me, far superior team. And then you look at the fact that you got dinged because you were in the Big Ten and you caught some losses there. Notre Dame's coming out of the ACC. Mm-hmm. This may be the 3rd best team they've played all year. I don't like their chances. I got 50 on it. Rutgers minus the 1. Finally, the Charlotte Hornets are a 1-point favorite tonight against the Atlanta Hawks. I got 50 on it. Hornets minus the 1. Atlanta is not good offensively at this point. It is only Trae Young with no John Collins. The ball stops, it's disjointed, and I don't think Atlanta can take advantage of this, let's say, lacking defense of the Charlotte Hornets. I got 50 on it. Hornets minus the 1.
And take those wagers over to betus.com, betus.com. Use the promo code Sportsocracy and get a 125% deposit bonus on whatever you put in, up to $2,500. It's good to see that you've gained a lot of ground, it feels like, in the green on green. You started out with 500 this year.
Perfect nights is that, you gain quite a bit.
Yeah, started out with 500 at the beginning of the year. It's a slow roll, but up about $200 on the year. So I feel like that's pretty good. Pretty good. All right, it's basketball time. NFL free agency's happening. Have you worked up a good mad for your birthday?
I have.
You have?
This is a good one. And we have breaking news after the break.
Oh, breaking news after the break. Hang on with us right here on ESPN Asheville.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Traffic is slowing. 240 westbound on the Captain Jeff Bowen Bridge. 40 westbound in Haywood County is stop and go between Fines Creek Road and Harmon Road. An incident reported near the Tennessee state line. Smoky Park Highway moving well. Patton Avenue no incidents. New Leicester Highway moving well. Biltmore Avenue no delays, and Merriman Avenue problem free. Checking the drive time from Swannanoa to Asheville via 40 westbound and 240 westbound. Drive time 16 minutes. I'm Lyndon Field with your time saver traffic.
This report is sponsored by DuckDuckGo. Protect your privacy for free with DuckDuckGo.
I feel like I'm being haunted by a pair of headphones. Everywhere I go is a creepy ad for headphones I looked at one time. I hate that feeling like I'm being watched. I downloaded DuckDuckGo and saw a difference right away. Take back your privacy online with DuckDuckGo. Privacy simplified.
celebrate the music you loved listening to all year.
Plus, your favorite artists will take home iHeartRadio Music Awards.
Don't miss our 2022 iHeartRadio Music Awards.
Watch exclusively on Fox.
This Tuesday night at 8.
Warner Brothers Pictures and J.K. Rowling invite you to return to the magic. Discover the secrets before Harry Potter in Fantastic Beasts: The Secrets of Dumbledore. This April, meet Dumbledore's first army and uncover the secrets that can save the world. April 15th, rated PG-13.
Have you ever felt depressed about work, only to have your dad be like, "Why are you so down?" So you told him you hate your job, and he said, "Well, you better talk yourself out of it." And then you thought, I love to talk. I could host a podcast. And then you went to Spreaker from iHeart and started a podcast and got good at it, then monetized it, then quit your boring job, then told your dad, "Thanks for the advice." And he was like, "Well, that's not what I meant, and I don't understand what a podcast is, but you seem happy, so that's great, kiddo." You ever do that? Well, you could. At Spreaker.com. That's Spreaker. Ask your dad. You actually don't.
Welcome to Allstate, where we bring it all together. And bundling your home and auto is good, right? And it saves you up to 25%. It all comes together. Allstate. Here, better protection costs a whole lot less. You're in good hands with Allstate. Click, call, or visit allstate.com to save today.
Bundled savings discounts will vary by state. Saving up to 25% is a countrywide average of savings off the home policy. Combining the multiple policy discount for having auto insurance with Allstate and the welcome discount savings at enrollment.
You could live in a time loop where every day is Friday and boldly seasoned Mexican spiced nacho fries with warm nacho cheese sauce never leave the menu. But you don't have to. Nacho fries are back. Get them today, the next day, and the day after that at a participating Taco Bell location near you for a limited time only.
You're always up for some fun with the family, so you order the essentials: a new board game, some baking supplies, and even a new projector for outdoor movie night. And with the Bank of America customized Cash Rewards credit card, you can choose to earn 3% cash back on online shopping, which could increase to up to 5.25% as a preferred rewards member. Rewards which you can put toward an extra treat that everyone will enjoy, like an old-fashioned popcorn machine. Visit bankofamerica.com/more rewarding and apply now. Copyright 2021 Bank of America Corporation.
If cleanliness is next to godliness, look around the car right now. Is that very godly? Look, life comes at you fast, but so does WNC Auto Detailing. They have the tools to make your interior look like it's coming off the showroom floor. You don't believe me? Check them out on Instagram. All that filth and years of stains disappear. WNC Auto Detailing does full interior and exterior details with paint correction, and they do wax and ceramic coatings. Call WNC Auto Detailing at 455-3700. Premium care with a Southern hospitality touch.
The underdog. The long shot. The nobody from nowhere, never gonna happen 100 to 1 shot. We know something about that. We're with you every step of the way.
This week at Ingles, select 6 to 12 count Laurel and Cuddly soft bath tissue, $3.98 each. Select sizes and varieties Kellogg's Frosted Flakes or Fruit Loop cereal, 2 for $4. And select sizes and varieties Tide laundry detergent, $12.98 each. Ingles, low prices, love the savings.
You know, there's one thing that really drives me crazy with NFL franchises, and it's passing the buck, which is, while you were talking to Jones Angell, something the Seattle Seahawks have done. Universally, Pete Carroll, John Schneider, and I can't remember her first name, Paul Allen's sister that is now the managing partner of this team, they all said, well, this is what Russ wanted. Of course it's what Russ wanted. You can pass the buck all you want to, but the fact that you put him behind I'll say middling offensive line because it's my birthday and I'm in a good mood. The defense has been a joke. You got absolutely demolished in your trade for Jamal Adams. You've given him no ability to succeed. Of course he wanted to play somewhere else. And then to put out these statements at the same time that Russell Wilson is doing his introductory press conference with the Denver Broncos. Tell me you're a pathetic franchise without telling me that. Take the Russell Wilson years in Seattle out and tell me that that's not one of the 5 worst franchises in this league. I'll save you the time. You can't do it. And it's things like this that are why. Seattle, you're about to get exactly what you deserve, and I've been saying this for 2 years. So now I'm just going to prop my feet up on the desk and laugh. I'm mad.
Who's going to break the news? Who's going to break the news? Who's going to break the news? Who's going to break the news?
And in breaking news, we got a move by the Baltimore Ravens.
Zadarius Smith returning to the team that drafted him 4 years, $35 million with a max value of $50 million.
Wow, it's a lot of incentives.
It's a solid deal. It's a solid deal for Baltimore. That was always where he was likely to go. The Cowboys have made they made the effort, as they have with virtually every pass rusher since they were spurned by Randy Gregory. This is always the place that made sense. Now he can be the vet tutor for Odafe Owa. I don't necessarily think that precludes them from adding a pass rusher in this deep draft of pass rushers. Speaking of that, in the happy hour, top 13 edge rushers in the 2022 NFL draft from me. And there is one player that is drastically lower to me than he is to everyone else.
All right, top 13 edge rushers coming up in the happy hour. Go to thesportsocracy.com. Click on that live video link. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And, of course, you should subscribe so you can get in on the chat. And you can help us decide this matchup that keeps getting closer now. 53% for Tool, 47% now for KORN as the most overrated bands bracket continues to develop. Yesterday's matchup, Creed took down Bon Jovi to advance to the Elite Eight. Now we got Tool against KORN. Jeremy's so mad. He is so angry
because
that we hate Creed
in the
so
final
much.
8. They shouldn't be. Everybody hates them. How are they in the final 8?
Everybody hates Tool too, and they're probably going to advance.
Not everybody hates Tool.
We'll see.
There's that one guy that you know that
you were the one guy that loves Creed.
Oh no, there's way more that love Tool than love Creed. That's not even in the ballpark.
Oh, so
and
you're
saying
me, because you stand alone.
If you don't know one, ask. They'll happily tell you. If you're looking for a Tool fan, just say Tool real loud. They'll come out of the woodwork and go, "They're the greatest band ever."
I mean, I actually don't know that I know any of those people, but
I do, and I could call them by name right now if I wanted to. I'm not going to.
You're not going to. You're going to protect the
Don't
innocent.
say innocent because they're not innocent. Look, they're fine. Ain't that good.
Here in the comments, Matthew McTaggart says the Browns apparently offered Nick Chubb, Denzel Ward 3 1s and a 2 for Deshaun Watson.
I can't confirm that, but it does sound. I mean, it's in the ballpark,
right?
That's what this deal's going to look like.
And I feel like that's a deal that the Houston Texans should jump on.
And they have no control over that.
No, I mean,
if Deshaun doesn't want to go there, he's not going to go there.
Right.
The package is going to look virtually like that no matter what team it comes from.
Mm-hmm. As we get closer and closer to a deal happening, I think one is expected to happen this evening at some point.
I think that this will certainly be done by the time we reconvene on Friday. I said that last week, and then the Falcons jumped in, and it threw everything all cattywampus.
And we will not be with you tomorrow here on ESPN Asheville. You will hear the North Carolina Tar Heels taking on Marquette in the first round, or I guess technically it's the second round of the NCAA tournament.
Can we change that, by the way? This is the first round. It's the first time these teams are playing. How is it the second round?
Because the first 4 counts as the first round now to some people.
You participation trophy people just, okay.
Participation trophy.
Everybody has to feel
They count
included.
too.
It can't be a play-in game. They actually made the tournament.
It's like that whole discussion of, tournament champions shouldn't have to play in the first 4. Yes, they should, because not all conferences are made the same. I thought we were all under that same understanding. We will not be with you tomorrow. We will be back on Friday, and we'll have all of the basketball, the NFL updates to give you during the Friday program. Stick around for the happy hour top 13 edge rushers in the 2022 NFL Draft, only on thesportsocracy.com. Click on that live video link. We'll be back Friday.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Mostly cloudy skies tonight with scattered showers tapering off a little later tonight, mid-40s. Patchy morning fog and clouds for Thursday. Sunshine mixing in as we head into and through the afternoon. Milder upper 60s. Afternoon showers Friday, low 60s. Our weekend forecast, dry weather, mix of clouds and sun. Middle to upper 60s for us on Saturday, cooling back into the 50s for Sunday with middle to upper 50s for afternoon highs. I'm meteorologist Ken Boone at the Weather Channel.
This report is sponsored by InvisibleFence.com. Whether you want your pet to have the independence to run and play outside, or you need to correct some mischievous behaviors like digging in the trash, the hands-on trainers from Invisible Fence brand train your pets for you. Visit InvisibleFence.com to learn more. Invisible Fence brand. Surround your pets with care.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Traffic is slowing. 240 westbound on the Captain Jeff Bowen Bridge. 40 westbound in Haywood County is stop and go between Fines Creek Road and Harmon Road. An incident reported near the Tennessee state line. Smoky Park Highway moving well. Patton Avenue no incidents. New Leicester Highway moving well. Biltmore Avenue no delays, and Merriman Avenue problem free. Checking the drive time from Swannanoa to Asheville via 40 westbound and 240 westbound. Drive time 16 minutes. I'm Lyndon Field with your time saver traffic.
This report is sponsored by Allstate. Are you a safe driver? Are you looking to save money? With DriveWise from Allstate, the safer you drive, the more you can save. At Allstate, better protection costs a whole lot less. Visit allstate.com or call an agent for a quote today.
The Sportsocracy.
The ceiling is the roof. Let's make it happen. Let's keep moving forward.
From the Ingles Studios, this is ESPN Asheville, WPEK, W225CJ Fairview, WMXF Waynesville, and iHeart Radio Station.
The following program is intended for mature audiences.
A democratic republic of sports. The Sportsocracy with ESPN Asheville hosts Tank Spencer and Jeremy Greene.
And welcome back into the Ingles Studio. I'm Tank Spencer, birthday boy, Jeremy Greene. And how fortuitous that we would give you the present you've been waiting for all off-season long with the top 13 edge rushers in the 2022 NFL draft class on Jeremy's birthday.
This is the one I've been asked about a lot because this is a deep edge class. I have 8 guys, I think, graded in the first 2 rounds. And I'm going to be honest with you. I have reverted back to damn near where I started. There are a couple guys that I've changed my mind on a little bit, but this is basically where it was. And I think the overreactions and the smoke and all of the bullshit that you catch in this time of year has officially caught up. And you'll see that reflected in my rankings.
Okay. All right. Well, let's get into the rankings here. At number 13.
It's Dominic Robinson. I absolutely love this kid. He has one of the most interesting stories of any player in this draft. And I'll be honest with you. There's a lot of raw to him. He's out of Miami of Ohio. I have a 3rd-round grade on him. There's a lot of raw. He hasn't been playing the position for that long. Hell, he was a receiver not that long ago. So there's a lot of just freak, unbelievable physicality that I'm projecting. I think he can stand up. I think he can do all kinds of things in the NFL. He's one of my favorite players in this draft. And the more time has gone on, the more I like him. I will say this. He's one of the few guys that I really want to see stand up.
Okay.
I think that is his better
potential.
I don't even want to say potential because I think he can do either one. I think his ceiling is probably higher, but I could argue his floor might be lower too. Some of the short shuttles and things like that, and it's not even really in the time. It's watching him do it, where you go, I don't know. I thought he was going to run faster than 4.72. He's 6'5", 253 is what he weighed in at the combine. I just look at it and go, you had the biggest vert of anybody at the combine. As a 6'5", 250-pound defensive end, I think a smart team is going to get a hold of him. Ask me why it's Baltimore.
Mm-hmm.
You sign Zadarius Smith. He's going to be there for a few years. This kid could learn underneath him, be a situational pass rusher. I don't want him to contribute right away. I mean, he can come in some sub packages and be a freak of nature. But you're going to see with another guy that just because you're a freak of nature does not necessarily mean you're going to be great in this league.
Mm-hmm.
I think this kid has good instincts. I think he has a very high football IQ, and he interviewed off the charts from every person. I've heard that from literally every person I know that was in Indianapolis. There were a lot of teams that were really impressed with him. This is not one that I get to keep to myself anymore.
Right.
He blew it up at the combine, and now I ain't the only one that knows about him.
That's a very unique path, going from a wide receiver to being an edge rusher, and now potentially being where? What, 3rd round?
I have
in the
him in
NFL draft?
I think a 3-4 team is going to draft him in the 3rd round with the intention of you can do some sub package things now, short area burst and things like that. And maybe I want to see you bulk up just a little bit, but defensively, the league's getting smaller. This league's getting faster, shiftier, and smaller. Years ago, he would have been a tweener. He ain't a tweener anymore.
Right. All right. Dominique Robinson, Miami of Ohio, at number 13.
I love that kid. I really do love that kid.
At number 12.
This is one that I might be lower on than others, and I think at the combine he showed why. It's Kinsley Enagbare. It's not that I don't like him. I just think he's a one-down player. He does one thing really well, and that's rush passers. The strength and all of those things they show in bursts. every good play every plus play he had at South Carolina grade-wise was in a pass rush situation.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he will ever be good in coverage. I don't think he'll ever be able to do that. I see him as a 3-4 outside linebacker. He plays like his – and you'll hear this about a lot of guys. He plays like his hair's on fire. That's not the positive that people think it is, because that usually means you're very reckless. And if you don't get home, you're completely out of the play. There were some weird angles that he took, too. I kind of chalk that up to – I don't necessarily know that he was coached all that well.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of raw. What terrified me was when people were talking about him going at the back end of the first round. That had bust written all over it. Now I think he slid to the back of the second. I have a third-round grade on him. If you get him in the third round, he could come in and pass rush right away. I just don't think you can ask him to do anything else.
It's definitely going to be a situational pass rusher.
100%. Because teams will see him lined up in 3rd and 4 and go, we can run right at him.
Mm-hmm.
And that's – now, granted, I said the same thing about Zadarius Smith a long time ago. So, there are guys that learn how to do that. I just think you're going to have to be a little more patient than you want to for a guy that's – this is a kid that played 44 games in college. You would expect him to kind of be what he is.
Right.
This is not hey, he was a receiver 2 years ago. He's done what he's always done. This is what he's been his entire life. And there's still more raw there than I want there to be.
But he's very physically imposing. And like you said, those pop plays, there are quite a few of them where you go, you don't look at him and go, oh, that's the next Jadeveon Clowney, which I know South Carolina fans wish he was. But
he was never that. Now,
he still has great physicality.
He does, and he was on a defense where he was damn near the only player there.
Mm-hmm.
I get that. I've taken that into account. I don't necessarily ever see super high-end player. I see situational pass rusher. This is a guy that probably 4 years from now is going to get a deal somewhere in that 4-year, $25 million range to be a dedicated edge rusher.
Mm-hmm.
To me, there are too many edge guys in this class for me to take somebody like that really high.
Yeah, a lot of positives though. Looking at him, I'm thinking about the Georgia game. He played really well in the Georgia game.
He had a lot of good tape
against future NFL offensive linemen. You saw how explosive he could be.
In many other drafts that I've covered, he would have been an early second round, late first guy. In this draft, not quite.
Kingsley Enagbare coming in at number 12. At number 11 on the top 13 edge rushers in the 2022 NFL Draft.
This is one I'm just scattered, smothered, and covered on. D'Angelo Malone from Western Kentucky. He's very raw, and I think he got some very bad advice. All right, he didn't do virtually anything at the combine.
Mm-hmm.
That was an error in judgment on your part. You should have run. You should have done all of the things. The thing I love about him is that he plays bigger than he is. At the combine, he came in at 6'3", a little over 240 pounds. He plays bigger than that. I think he actually can be a sub-package 4-3 end. I think he could stand up. And I'm just going to tell you something, and I've heard this. And when guys don't do drills at the combine, there's usually a reason. It's because there's something you were going to do that was going to give people a lot of hesitation about you. But then again, I watched him in the on-field and went, there's a lot of fluidity to this kid. There's a lot of things to like with this kid. Level of competition is obviously a problem. I don't know that he's ever going to be good against the run. And when I say good against the run, if I was comparing him to other guys in this class, he's one of the worst edge guys that's going to go in the first 2 days. Mm-hmm. All of these guys are first, second day picks. He's one of the worst in this draft against the run. And I think it's because he's so little. That can be improved, but I'm afraid if you bulk him up, it takes away a lot of the reason that he was here. I like the raw. Again, I'm going to say the same thing I said about him with Kingsley Enagbare. He played over 3,000 snaps in college. It gets hard for me to go, oh, he's raw. Well, how much more are you going to develop? I mean, exactly what more do you have to do to uncover everything that you're going to be? That makes me nervous, but he is a kid that I have a third-round grade on.
But the coaching is going to be better in the NFL
100%.
than it is in Conference USA.
And I'm not going to lie, I took that into account.
Okay. He was the Conference USA Defensive Player of the Year twice.
2 times.
Uh-huh.
Now, granted, if you watch Conference USA football, that's kind of like saying, hey, you're the fastest guy at potato sack race.
Oh.
Hot. You're not trying to slight the kid.
Right.
He
I mean, a
does.
little bit.
Okay.
I mean, a little bit. D'Angelo Malone from Western Kentucky in at number 11. Number 10.
This is a kid that apparently, based on the pronunciation guide and all the bullshit, I've been saying his name incorrectly. So,
Ebiketie.
Arnold Ebiketie. Ebiketie.
Ebiketie.
I haven't had it phonetically spelled on my screen, and I still said it wrong. 6'2", 250, 38-inch vert. There's a lot to like about this kid.
Yep.
People are comparing him to Odafe Owa, and I think that is stupid. Just because they played at the same school does not mean they are the same prospect. I think Ebiketie.
Yeah.
My fear is that he played in the Big Ten, where you don't get a ton of athletes. Sorry, you don't. Wisconsin is big, slow, and plodding. So is Iowa. So is Northwestern. And he's such a freak athlete. These guys scare the hell out of me because they come into the league and they never refine. Because there's nothing, when I watch him on tape, there's nothing that he does where I go, that's a great move. That's a tool in your tool belt in the NFL. I watch him just out physical, out speed, out athlete around the edge. Well, in the NFL, you're not going to do that.
Mm-hmm.
That's just not how this is going to go. It's very dependent to me where he goes. Because I think he can play against the run. I think he can be a 3-down guy. He was used very situationally at Penn State. And I haven't seen a lot of him against the run. What I have seen is good. He's another one that I'm getting nervous about. I'm hearing in the top 40, out.
Mm-hmm.
Seacrest, out. Because I like every player that you're getting ready to see in front of him better than him. There's some technique issues, but I think those can be refined in the right system.
But he has to stand up, right? He has to stand up at his size.
I believe so.
Because
if this had been 5 years ago, I would say 100% you're right about that.
Right.
I mean, at the combine, he weighed in at 250 pounds. So I always saw him as smaller than that. He's one of those guys that he weighed in at a weight that was greatly discrepant to what I saw on film.
Mm-hmm.
5 years ago, yeah, he would have to have stood up. Here's the other place that I could see him possibly. Patrick Graham said something that's been rolling around in my head.
Okay.
Apparently, with the Raiders, he's planning on playing a 4-2-5. All right, so for those of you that are not, super X's and O's, that's nickel. That's exactly what that is.
Mm-hmm.
Because he thinks the 3-4 and the 4-3 are antiquated in today's NFL. And the more I've thought about that, the more I go, you don't. That's not a bad point. And this is going to sound weird, and I might be 3 years ahead of the times on this. I could see more teams starting to play 3-3-5, where you have 5 secondary guys on the field, but you still have the fluidity of 3-4, and you don't have 4 just big-ass humans out on the field,
right.
Because the game is getting so much faster.
Right.
I look at defending Cincinnati, defending Kansas City, these spread them out. I have a billion weapons. You figure it the fuck out. I could see him really standing out in that. If he played that will in a 3-3-5 as the edge rusher that you can move around and do things with, I think that's his best case scenario. Problem is that I'm probably 2 years ahead of that before you start seeing that more. That's a college defense now. There's so much raw here that the right coaching staff will get a lot out of him. I just don't want to see him go in the top 40.
Arnold Ebiketie, edge rusher.
And I need to learn to say his fucking name.
Yeah, edge rusher out. Well, you've been calling it Ebiketie.
Because
forever.
I heard him say Ebiketie.
Ebiketie, edge rusher.
If you can't pronounce it, how the fuck am I supposed to?
From Penn State, comes in at number 10. Number 9.
Hold on, I got to repeat this.
Okay.
Mike, we're like an AA meeting for sports.
What's up, Mike?
Said, what? Tool is way better than KORN. KORN is horrible. Singer sucks. Guitar play doesn't know shit. He said, crap. I replaced that. This channel's audience is sketchy at best. Happy birthday, Wolf Van Halen. First of all, that's one of my favorite comments anybody's ever said on the channel, ever. Second of all, thank you.
Wolf Van Halen.
I've been called a lot of things. That's a new one. And you know what? I might put that on my business cards now. Thanks, Mike.
Oh, wow. It's gotten closer.
And by the way, I have to admit this. I fully fucking agree with you. I voted for KORN. I've been sitting here going, okay, where is the KORN should be?
No.
I don't dislike Tool in any way. What irritates me is that there's always one, and I promise you, you know who I'm talking about. That person's like, Tool's the greatest band ever! No, they're not. They're fine. Plus, you know, when I was younger, I hung out with a lot of people that smoked a lot of recreational drugs, and I don't. So maybe I never got the full experience. I don't know. It's all possible.
I do enjoy a good schism every now and then.
I'm sure you do. I do too, but I think we have different definitions of that word.
Yes. Tool is currently leading KORN, but just by a fraction. It's now 51 to 49.
Nominally.
Just wait for it. They could catch it up. Again, share this out with your friends. And we can get some votes in here in the next 10, 15 minutes while we rock through the top 13 edge rushers in the NFL draft. Number 9.
Yeah, this is one that was on the Chase Claypool list, and I thought I was going to be able to keep him all to my little lonesome. Not so much Amari Barno out of Virginia Tech. When a 6'5", 245-pound man runs a 4.36, yeah, he's going to go higher than he should have. The thing that bothers me is that the skill set's really raw. It always makes me feel good when I see a guy on field, because if you remember when we did the Chase Claypool team, I talked about Virginia Tech and the fact that I never really bought into Justin Fuente.
Yep.
And I'm watching this kid going, you remind me a lot of a slew of very athletic edge rushers that I've seen go into the league and be really good. Is he raw? As hell. But there are not many humans that are this big that are this fast. He doesn't do anything overly well. Amari Barno is one of those kids, and I'm not going to lie, when I saw Chase Winovich was traded by New England to Cleveland, I immediately went, why do I see Bill Belichick doing this? Because him on the other side of Matt Judon, shoe buddy. If you can't dedicate somebody to him, he's going to rip you apart in dedicated pass rush situations. I don't want to say he holds up against the run. He's not a great tackler. At this point, he's more athlete than he is football player. But he is a tremendous freaking athlete. I mean, otherworldly, better than I have seen. One of the best athletes I've ever seen. And it screamed on tape, and I'm just glad he backed it up at the combine.
That he did. Amari Barno, Virginia Tech, comes in at number 9. Number 8.
I'm going to catch some shit for this, and you know what? I just don't care. Every time I have ever backed off on a player like this where I don't get what you're seeing, I've ended up being wrong that I backed off on it. It's Trayvon Walker. I don't understand what it is that people are seeing in him. How many sacks did he have in 4 years at Georgia? Or 3 years, or however long he was there?
6?
11.
Okay.
Total. It really is a struggle for me to believe that you couldn't put, and look, numbers are not everything. There are guys that'll put up stupid numbers in Conference USA or the MAC or whatever, and they go to the league and they're irrelevant. That being said, when you're on that talented of a defense, put in situations to be that guy, and you can't do it. What am I missing here? I've seen him going at 3 to Houston.
Yep.
That's insane to me. The one caveat to that is if you're planning on bulking him up, you add 15 good pounds of muscle to the frame and you're planning on playing him on the inside in a 4-3. Now we can talk. Because I think he could be an elite pass rusher from the inside. I don't ever see him being an elite pass rusher on the outside. And that's what I'm looking at Houston going, because that's coming from somewhere. I'm hearing it from Timmy Places.
Oh, yeah.
If you think you're going to stand him up and him be really good, you're out of your fucking mind. And if you don't believe me, I'll Mike Mamula, Vernon Golston you to death.
Right.
And yes, I do see the discrepancy between Amari Barno and Trayvon Walker. That's why I put them right beside each other. Because there's a big damn difference here. All right, Amari Barno was never had the backing. There were never players on that defense. And I'm not saying there weren't good players. There was never anybody you were terrified of. That Georgia defense might have been the best defense I've ever seen in college football.
Yes.
Every guy on that team went to the combine and showed out.
Mm-hmm.
So why'd you not put numbers up? But Jordan Davis and Quay Walker and Nakobe Dean and blah, 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 blah. Okay. You were earmarked to throw up just stupid numbers here. You didn't do it. You never did. I can't help but think he's going to be overdrafted. I don't get the top 10 talk at all. I've had him in the middle of the second round for as long as I can remember. I started to push it up because it seemed like every person I talked to was saying, oh, he's going to go higher than that. And I let it sway me. That's if I had to bet a bust in this draft, I'll say it's Trayvon Walker.
Okay.
Solely because of what he's going to be asked to do.
Yeah, I'm not
if
mad
you
at
draft
it.
him over Kayvon Thibodeau, you're a fucking moron.
Yeah,
and that
I
is the
agree.
nicest way I could say that.
I would agree, because I've been seeing these mock drafts lately that have him going in the top 10, some in the top 5, as you mentioned, number 3 to the Houston Texans, and I, as a Georgia fan, can't figure it out. The only thing that I can think of is that they're thinking, well, I mean, he didn't have a whole lot of opportunity at Georgia because there were other guys playing in front of him. And remember, he didn't come in and stand out this year until the whole Anderson thing happened.
Mm-hmm.
So when Anderson had to be removed from the team, that's when Trayvon Walker started coming in and making some noise. And they're looking at that and going, well, if you can make that kind of noise on this, on this talent-laden team, then maybe there's something to that. I think he's being drafted, or he's going to be drafted on potential.
He's being drafted on the fact that he's a freak of nature. Yeah, so is Vernon Golston.
Mm-hmm.
I got to live that one firsthand, and it was a bitch.
But hand in the dirt in a 3-4, you don't think that he can be on the outside of that front line and do something great?
If you bulk him up. Here's what I think is going to happen. I think a team's going to play him as a 3-4 outside linebacker, as a 4-3 end. And that is a recipe for no.
Yep.
It's Leonard Williams syndrome. I'm not saying you won't be a fine player. You're never going to live up to being a top 10 pick, ever. That's just not who he is.
Yep.
And look, there are plenty of people that disagree with me, and you're totally entitled to. I have backed down on this as long as I'm going to, because this has gotten to stupid territory now. Now, we're talking that there's almost no way he's not a top 10 pick. Are you fucking kidding me? I'll invite anybody that wants to disagree with me. You take me to the tape where he showed he was a top 10 pick.
Mm-hmm.
I'll watch it again. You know what? I'll watch it 10 times over, because I've watched everything I can get my hands on with him. You tell me where it was.
Trayvon Walker out of Georgia at number 8 in the top 13 edge rushers in this NFL draft, and going in some mocks in the top 3.
Which is insane to me.
It is. How about number 7?
Okay, this is why I hate saying things before. Well, this is actually why I love saying things, because I can go back and go, I told you. Boye Mafe. Outstanding Senior Bowl. Kid out of Minnesota. He could be a damn force at the next level. He is. There is some raw. There are some question marks. When I watch, some of the film on him, I look at him and go, you weren't great against the run. Some of your best tape was in the Senior Bowl, which is a place where this is not college offense. That's not what this looks like. It's not NFL offense either. Now, that being said, I watch him as a pass rusher and just go, yeah, you're going to work.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to work, and I don't really give a damn what scheme you go into. I don't care. I mean, you can put his hand in the dirt, you can stand him up. I think he's athletic enough to do both. He was also on the Chase Claypool team. Chase Claypool team had a hell of a Senior Bowl, just throwing that out there.
Yes, they did.
I can't get away from he ends up with the New York Giants at the top half of the second round.
Oh, him and Azeez Ojulari together?
And I just look at it and go,
fuck.
I mean, he's 6'4", 260, ran a 4.5, got a little stiffness. He's 23, I think. 23 and a half.
Mm-hmm.
So he'll be almost 24 years old. That is one of my biggest knocks on him, is that you played enough that I kind of think you are who you are. But if you go in knowing that he's going to be a situational pass rusher, and I think he can be a terrifying one, and you've got this is tandem drafting at its best. All right, you need to have somebody like a Blake Martinez or a Joe Schobert, one of those linebackers that's stout against the run, playing next to him. If you do that, he's going to put up ridiculous numbers, I believe, in the NFL.
All right, Boye Mafe. He had, two sacks in the Senior Bowl?
2 strip sacks
Two
in the
strip
Senior Bowl.
sacks in the Senior Bowl against
He had one of the better
Sam
Senior Bowl games I've ever seen.
Right. And then somebody stole his damn jersey, which is just low. Super low. Number 6.
He's getting ready to make millions of dollars. I think he'll be fine.
Oh, he'll be fine.
I'm going to catch shit about this. And I'm a fan of the school that this kid went to, so I'm not slighting him because I don't like him.
I am too.
It's Jermaine Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
This is another one that I'm seeing going in the top 10. I understand that much more than I understand Trayvon Walker. The thing that makes me nervous, why could you not do much of anything? You couldn't hardly get on the field at Georgia.
Nope.
Then you go to the ACC, which is greatly inferior competition, especially last year, and you're dominant.
Mm-hmm.
He's a freak athlete. He's really raw, hasn't played the snaps, hasn't played the games. There are a lot of things to like. If you're taking him because of the upside, I get it. Here is where I think the argument falls to shit. I've seen Minnesota Vikings fans that want him over George Karlaftis, and that is insane to me. B, if you think he can stand up and play linebacker in a 3-4, I think you are out of your gourd. And if you don't believe me, go back to the combine and watch him move around. I'm not saying he's not athletic. I'm not saying that at all.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm saying is that his feet and his eyes at times look like they're controlled by different brains. That's why he went to Florida State and was so good. Because playing end in that Mike Norvell defense, they asked him to do one thing: kill quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
One-on-one, kill quarterback. There's not a left tackle in the SEC that could slow him down. The inferior competition, all those things make me nervous. Now, that being said, the tape is intoxicating. Had a good week at the Senior Bowl, skyrocketing up boards. The thing that makes me a little bit nervous is there were a couple games that he went just death silent. And you know what both those games had in common?
What's that?
300-plus pound offensive tackles. He's a little thin. And that makes me a little nervous.
Mm-hmm.
He's not as hyper-athletic as everybody wants to make him out to be. He's a 4-3 defensive end. I love him in Philadelphia. I would love him in Minnesota if Karlaftis is not there. I just can't figure out how you would take him over George Karlaftis.
Yeah.
I can't wrap my brain around that.
I'm with you on he needs to have his hand in the dirt, and he's going to use that speed to his advantage to get around those tackles. Jermaine Johnson out of Florida State.
And I need it to be understood, I'm not trying to slight the kid. I really like the kid. He's just not a top 10 pick. To me, he fits more as a top 25 pick.
Yes.
And if that's where he goes, then hallelujah, sound the flag. It's going to be fantastic.
Mm-hmm. Back into the first round. Could be the jewel of the top of the second round.
Very well could
Do
be.
not know.
He ain't going to last that long.
You don't think he'll last any chance?
He will not
Okay.
get past, let's see. That third Philadelphia Eagles pick. I don't see a way he gets any lower than that.
Okay, so at 19. All right.
The thing when you have 3 picks is you can manipulate the first round. All right, so if you're dead set you're going to get a pass rusher and there are 4 on the board that you like at 15, well, you don't have to take one.
Right.
You can sit there and do whatever you want to. And if there's still 2 on the board, you can still trade down. This is what having extra draft capital does.
All right, we are now to the top 5 of the top 13 edge rushers in the 2022 NFL draft class. Number 5.
This one's funny to me that people don't see what I see. It's Drake Jackson out of USC.
Who doesn't see what you see?
There are people that think he's going to go in the 3rd round.
Oh, my God.
If he goes in the 3rd round, whoever takes him won the draft. And I don't care if he took a kicker in the 2nd round.
Mm-hmm.
I have said this for, I think we're running on year 5 now, I think. USC players were not well coached under Clay Helton.
Right.
There are a laundry list of guys that have left USC, gone to the NFL, and all of a sudden, all that talent that you saw out of them, it's much more consistent. Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Mm-hmm.
I understand they don't play the same position. I understand they don't play the same position. I do not care. I genuinely look at Drake Jackson and go, you could be a top 10 pass rusher in this league 3 years from now. And it wouldn't shock me in the least. Hyper athletic, great bend. There's a lot of good technique with him. The thing that makes me nervous is that I did see him get bullied a little bit. Now, you're going to have to be a big bastard to bully him.
Mm-hmm.
But there are situations he could end up in where that could happen. I am more bullish on him as a defensive end in a 4-3 than I am as a stand-up 3-4. I've heard him to New England more times than I can count, and I don't love that.
Mm-hmm.
He's a guy that I would love. Before the Raiders added Chandler Jones, that would have been just a lovely spot.
Right.
Let me look through a list of teams in the NFL. One that just sticks out to me is Cincinnati Bengals. I know that's not their biggest need. Yeah. I'm well aware of that. I feel like he is going to be a player. He's my last first-round grade among edge guys.
He wouldn't be bad, though, to come in to spell Sam Hubbard.
Kansas City Chiefs. There's a slew of teams that could use him admirably.
Mm-hmm.
And I just look at it and go, you're going to fall way further than you should. And I don't know why. If it was, he doesn't hold up against the run. No, that's not really a problem. Yes, there were times he disappeared, but that's a USC problem. Mm-hmm. That's been a problem for literally every player that's come out of USC since I've been doing this. Through Lane Kiffin, basically every coach since Pete Carroll, that's been a problem. I think there's something to be said for that. Now, I will say this. He's not a great tackler. But by God, when he does.
Yeah, he's going to hurt you.
There are some missed tackle issues. I get it. If that's your slide on him, okay. I don't think you're completely out to lunch if that's your qualm with him.
Mm-hmm.
I just think you're picking nits at that point.
I wonder if he adds to his frame if he's still going to have that elite level quickness.
I think he will.
Okay.
I'll be honest with you. I think 3 years from now, he's the good of DeMarcus Lawrence.
Ooh.
That's where I see him.
Okay. Drake Jackson out of USC at number 5. At number 4.
He's so raw. David
Ojabo from Michigan.
Now, this is a kid that reminds me of Odafeola.
Mm-hmm.
It's super raw, but there's so much good. The only problem is he's got 1 year of tape.
Mm-hmm.
He's only played football, I think, for 5 years total. He switched over his junior year of high school. So there's just not he played less than 600 snaps, played less than 20 games in college. These are guys that you can get fired over. I'm going to use Vernon Golston again.
Right. Was he a soccer player? Did I read that about him?
He was a soccer player, and I want to say he was a track star, too.
Oh, okay.
He's freakishly athletic.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that makes me – there's 2 things about him that make me nervous. One, he had Aiden Hutchinson on the other side. So you are never catching somebody's best shot. I'm afraid that propped him up. And now I'm saying that I have him as my 17th best player in this draft, so it's not exactly like I'm slighting the guy.
Right.
I'm having to differentiate. There are 3 guys in front of him that I really like. None of them may be superstars, but I feel very safe that they're all going to be very, very good. David Ojabo is a guy who can get you fired. The good is very good. I just haven't seen much of it. And I've seen plenty of guys like this come into the league and bust out that were freak athletic, and they never carved out that niche with moves. They never had a move to transition power into speed or speed into power or anything like that. And good offensive linemen just manhandled them. That's in the back of my head. That being said, I do still really like the kid. Baltimore, before they signed Zadarius Smith, was the drop dead for me.
Mm-hmm.
I could see him in Philadelphia if they evaluate him higher than Jermaine Johnson, or if Jermaine Johnson were taken out from out in front of him. I could see them being very happy with David Ojabo. And they should be. I just don't want you to be the best pass rusher on this team next year. I want you to be the 2 that's being groomed into being the freak of nature.
Yeah. David Ojabo from Michigan in at number 4. How about number 3?
Boop. George Karlaftis. The hate on this kid is just stupid to me. It seems like no matter what team I put him with, the fans of that team get pissed off about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't understand. I do not understand.
Is it because he's not freakishly athletic like some of these other guys, or not as blindingly fast as some of these other guys?
I think it's because he went to Purdue and you didn't watch him.
Okay.
And I just feel like he's put up there with the Ajabos and the Kayvon Thibodeaux and guys like that, and people just go, well, I didn't see him play, and Purdue sucked. Yeah, I get that. Go back and watch the Iowa tape.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure it was Iowa, that he just dominated. Now, he's a guy that I don't want to see stand up. He's very good. He's very athletic. He was a volleyball player. Moved here when he was 13 from Greece. Very high football IQ. I mean, especially for as little as he's been around the sport,
Mm-hmm.
he has a very high football IQ. I think he's very safe. I don't see – all right, I'll give you a comparison, and it's not a skill set. It's a where they sit in the NFL. I don't see him ever being worse than, say, a Derek Barnett.
Okay.
Where you do one thing really well and everything else you're just kind of serviceable. I don't see him ever being worse than a rotational defensive end. And there are people that treat him like he's going to come into the league and be Dante Fowler, and I don't get it. If you look at how he graded at Purdue, he was pretty good against the run. He was a phenomenal pass rusher. The big knock on him is tackling technique. We hadn't played this game that long.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think that's one of those things that's really easy to fix. And I think he will. He's one of my favorite players. He's one of my favorite players in this draft.
George Karloftis in at number 3.
Oh, hold on. We got one of these.
Oh, super chat.
Oh. Go! We're going to have to fix something with this board. Now it's all cattywampus facing the wrong direction.
Can't really read the screen.
I also have to, turn it up.
Yeah, you should.
Yep. Bo Walker, happy birthday, Jeremy. Me and Karen love y'all and the show. We love you as well. And I appreciate that greatly. Y'all have made a guy just feel all warm and fuzzy on his birthday.
And that's the goal.
And that's saying something, because I friggin' hate birthdays.
He does. By the way, we now have a tie in the overrated bands bracket. Tool and KORN are now tied.
And we've only got 2 players to go. So right. You could be the deciding factor.
That's right. Whoever Bo just voted for, Karen, go get on your other one and vote for Tool. So Tool will move on in the overrated bands bracket. The top 2 edge rushers in this 2022 NFL draft class. I'm sure we all know who they are. It just depends on what order are they going to be in. Number 2.
Number 2 is the safer of the 2. But I don't know that he ever projects as where he's going to get drafted.
So it's Aiden Hutchinson.
It is. I'm going to tell you what somebody in the NFL told me. Aiden Hutchinson is a stand-up double no matter what. I do not see a path that he's ever a home run. The Georgia tape soured me a lot. They manhandled him.
Mm-hmm.
Now, he's as likable a kid as I have ever evaluated. If you don't like the kid, go back and watch his interview with Rich Eisen at the Combine. You can't walk away from that and not like him. Taking shots at his dad, he's a lighthearted kid. The problem with him is I have the same problem that a lot of teams at the top of this draft have. I don't know that he's ever going to be a top 10 edge rusher in the league. I don't know that he's ever going to be that guy. I think he will be he's one of the few guys that I think can immediately be a 3-down guy. And I think he can be a good pass rusher. I'm really curious what's on the other side. And I'm terrified that Jacksonville's going to take him in one.
Mm-hmm.
Because Jacksonville is where happiness and good players go to die.
I hope not for his sake. I still feel like Jacksonville should go with an offensive lineman there at the top of the draft. But is a very real possibility. And I think Detroit's sitting back going, please let us have him at 2.
They're not.
They're not?
Because they're not in love with him either.
Really?
Nope.
Huh.
They're not in love with him either.
He just, to me, he fits that whole scheme there. But, again, I'm not a draft evaluator, but I like him.
He fits there because you want him to, because that's where because he's coming from the same geographic area. People do this all the time.
It's not even that. I think it's the personality. Him in that, that Dan Campbell locker room, just something about it fits to me. It's not even about the geographical fit, which I think would still be good for Detroit.
Everybody talks about Ajabo only having 1 year of tape.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be really honest with you. Aiden Hutchinson only really had one high-level year. Kwity Paye was clearly the better of the two edge rushers when they were on the field together in 2020. And he had a Jabo on the other side last year. So it kind of makes you wonder, and I think that's what a lot of evaluators are looking at is, are you ever going to be the guy? Or are you going to be a guy that has to have another guy on the other side of you? And that makes me nervous. Plus, I'm going to say this again, I'm afraid he's going to end up in Jacksonville, and that's where happiness goes to die.
Yeah, but him next to or on the other side from Josh Allen could work.
Oh, yeah. I mean, just run it right up the middle of them. It was, oh, great. You have two sweet pass rushers. Hot. And you're paying $1 billion to a receiver that's about that tall. Good for you, Jacksonville.
All right, now number 1. Top 13 edge rushers in the NFL draft in 2022. It's Kayvon Thibodeau out of Oregon. The same guy it's been forever.
That it will continue to been.
Continue to bend.
I do not understand. I do not understand what it is about him that...
I think it's the character
I
concerns.
shouldn't have said that way. Because I do understand what it is about him that people don't like.
Okay.
I have heard he has a tendency to rub people the wrong way. And that's fine. I don't need you to be a fucking choir boy. I need you to be a really good pass rusher. And here's kind of where I fall in with Thibodeau. I think he is a victim of his own hype. He was the number 1 recruit in the nation. There was the huge recruiting war at USC, Oregon, Ohio State, all these different places. So he goes to Oregon, and he's never Khalil Mack or whatever it is you're looking for him to be.
Right.
Well, he took plays off. Well, he played at Oregon, for one. It was the Pac-12. And he knew, all I have to do is not die, and I'm going to be a top 5 pick. And now we do this with a player every year. They don't interview well at the combine. People start talking smack about him, whatever the case may be. And I'll say, well, he's going to fall to 17. Stop talking. Just stop talking. No, he's not. He's not going to fall out of the top 10. I don't care if he started drawing erotic pictures during interviews. He ain't falling out of the top 10. I don't care if he was drawing goobers on the desk that he was sitting at. I don't care. The good with him is better than any edge rusher in this draft.
Right.
And this is another one like Trayvon Walker. I have moved and adjusted with what other people say, and I'm not going to do that. Kayvon Thibodeau is the best edge rusher in this draft, period. Now, is there a path where he's better standing up? Yes, there is. Is there a path where he's not ever great against the run? Yes, there is. I got news for you. There are a lot of really good edge rushers in this draft, or a lot of, well, in this draft and in this league, that are not particularly good against the run. There are very few of them that are as freak of nature and productive as Kayvon Thibodeau. I feel like if he had come to Oregon as a 4-star that was like number 76 in the rankings, nobody would talk shit about him. And I firmly believe that. But you knew who he was when he was a senior in high school. So, if he falls past 4, which I don't think he's going to, by the way. I think if he's there at 4 for the Jets, I think they will take him.
Sure.
Which, by the way,
I'm your huckleberry.
Matthew Hoffman, my fellow Jets fan, said, we need some Jets talk for your birthday. What's your answer at wide receiver this year for the Jets? I'll get to that in just a second. I tied it in because I think 4 is Thibodeau's floor. There was a time where I thought, hey, man, we get him at 10. No, we can't.
No,
we can't because he ain't falling past Atlanta at 8. I don't give a damn if they get Deshaun Watson or not. It just doesn't matter to me. This is the best player in this draft. And you can pick nits all you want to. I'm going to be really honest with you. Washington didn't love Chase Young. You think they love him now?
Yeah, they do.
There you go. There are just times, especially in drafts like this, where there's not that many high-level players, that you just look at a guy and go, you know what? If I pass you and you end up being what I think you are, I'll get fired. If I take Evan Neal ahead of you, I'm going to get fired. Because there's no high side there where he's elite. There's a high side where Kayvon Thibodeau is elite.
Tyler asked in the comments, who was better coming out, Kayvon Thibodeau or Chase Young? I guess coming out of high school.
Coming out of high school?
I guess.
I'm assuming you're not asking me out of high school.
I don't know.
You're asking me who would be a higher graded player.
You were
coming
talking
into
about
the draft.
you were talking about he's been the number one recruit since
I'm going to assume
forever.
you're asking me who was a better prospect. It was Chase Young. Chase Young was a better prospect. Chase Young was also in a much better draft. If both of them were on the board, Chase Young would go ahead of Kayvon Thibodeau. That being said, this is a guy that if you pass on him and he becomes what he can be, you are LMNO fired. Houston Texans, I am looking directly at you. You pass him and do some dumb shit and take Trayvon Walker at 3, Mr. Casario, you will be in the unemployment line looking for your next gainful employment.
All right, wrapping it up for your birthday. Jets talk.
Solution at receiver. I mean, in my next mock draft, they don't have a shot at Drake London. So, for me, it becomes sit back and wait until the second round. You can take a guy in the 30s. This is a draft where outside of Drake London, I could very easily see it turning into a Mexican standoff where everybody just goes, you do it first. No, you do it first. You'll be the first one to take one.
Mm-hmm.
I saw our buddy Matt Miller post this on Twitter. Every single year, draft nerds like me post guys going in the late 20s, early 30s, and everybody loses their shit. Chris Olave. Oh, they'll never be there. You're stupid. And every year it happens. Every single year it happens. I think you're going to have really good, really talented players in the 30s. So, for me, it does not require high-end capital. I'm fine with Berrios, Elijah Moore, Corey Davis, Uzomah, who you just brought in from Cincinnati, and Michael Carter. Plus, I like the line. I'm much happier with the offense than I was 3 days ago.
Is Denzel Mims just dead?
Yes, he is to me. I mean, I don't
Then
wish,
why haven't you
I don't
traded
wish
him yet?
ill upon him, but he can get the whole fuck out.
Right. But why haven't you traded him yet? I feel like he's got to have some value.
Not really. It's about a 5. His head casery has become well known around the league.
Okay.
We aren't the only ones that know it.
Yeah. I tried to warn you against that when you drafted him. I told you I didn't like him from the start.
Well, it has nothing to do with his talent.
No.
It's all to do between the ears.
Yeah.
And he doesn't have the greatest hands. But, yeah, he pissed off the staff. I could see him going somewhere else and being fine. But, but I mean, yeah, you lost Jamison Crowder. But, I mean, how many receivers exactly do you need? All right, so you just gave Braxton Berrios $6 million a year.
Right.
That tells me you're 3. A team with this many holes, you're not giving $6 million to a kick returner.
No.
Or a 4.
No.
So, you know, I could see there being a receiver taken with one of those top, what did I tell you earlier? They have 5 picks in the top 69.
Something like that.
I could see one of them being a receiver.
All right, you're in the Sportsocracy. We appreciate everybody being along for us on the.
I got to ask a question on the backside.
Oh.
Curtis Davis asked what happened to Big Camp Bryant. He'll still, I think, get drafted, but there's a lot of ugly tape on him. And there's a slew of other guys that, you know, just since we're talking about edge rushers, guys that I didn't talk about. Let me get through my Cameron Thomas. I think his best fit is in the interior of a 4-3. If I knew he was going to play at 265, I think he's a 4-3 end, and he's a third-ish round guy. Logan Hall, let's just put this nicely and say he has not had the greatest pre-draft process, and he's being unfavorably compared to Peyton Turner that went to the Saints last year, which is unfair. Majai Sanders from Cincinnati, I've never been super high on him.
Mm-hmm.
I think he was on a very good defense with very good corners, and that's what propped him up. He's a third-round talent to me.
What about Nick Bonito from Oklahoma?
I think he only works standing up. So, I mean, to me, he could play inside linebacker. It wouldn't shock me.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't see him as his only path to being a great pass rusher is if he's like a Elvis Doomerville, and I just don't think that's going to happen. I think it's more likely that he's a piece, a guy that you can move around that does a lot of things really well. Josh Pascal is a guy that I have in the 4th round. Isaiah Thomas the same way. Jeffrey Gunter out of Coastal Carolina. They're all in that day 3 range.
Mm-hmm. All right. No more? We're good?
No, there's not a lot of hey, I don't like this guy as a second-day pick, but you can take him in the 3rd round. No, if I don't like you in the second day, I pretty much don't like you, period. Outside of the guys I just said.
Right.
I think they all have a role. It's just a fourth-round role.
Okay. And we appreciate everybody being on the ride with us for this Wednesday edition of the Sportsocracy. We will not be back tomorrow because of UNC basketball on ESPN Asheville. We're going to take the day off, let Jeremy continue his drinking from what he's going to do tonight on his 35th birthday. Once again, happy birthday to the Ginger Ninja. And of course, tomorrow being St. Patty's Day, it's going to get even worse.
Looks like I took the wrong week to quit drinking.
That's the sound the bear makes.
That'll probably be me at about, let's go 10:30.
I'm Tank Spencer. He's Jeremy Greene. We'll be back in the Ingles Studio on Friday at 3 o'clock on ESPN Asheville, and, of course, always right here on the YouTube stream, the Sportsocracy.com. Don't forget to join the bracket game. Go do that if you have not joined our bracket game yet on ESPN.com. The link is in the description of this video. Again, we want to take the title back in the name of the United States of America. We'll see you next time.